Right, okay. Cool, we are live. Nice. Am I missing anything? Yeah. Let's pop my light on. I just need to find a cable for it. Where are you, cable? There you are. Hey, Morph. Oh, cool. Get that hair up and out of the way. But yeah, how are you doing today, Morph? Alright, just sort out my phone, make sure it's on Do Not Disturb. Right. Oh, yeah. We're all good. We're all good. We're all ready. Let's just tweet this out. But yeah, right. So, we are... Good. Still glad work is over there. Oh yeah, of course. It's always the best feeling when work finishes for the day. So yeah, I am back. Well, as you could tell. We are good for another stream. Today, we're going to carry on with Nightcall. We started it on Saturday, and it's different to a lot of games that I've played, but in a good way. I've kind of been excited to carry on with it today, to be fair, because I want to know what's happening. It seems like there's a few stories that's among it, so I guess we'll see what happens when it comes to it. Just check that out. What's that? Oh yeah, that was that. Well, these two new items. I see I have Atlee. Yeah, it's one of those games where I probably won't play it, but I'll put the music up because the music's really nice. It's just one of those things. Alright. Let me just sort this out. That's the one thing that I find about JRPGs is they're too long for me to play half the time, but the music in it, oh, I love the music in JRPGs. It's so good. So chill. Nightcall. Yes, Raven. How was your last game on Siege? Oh, also, I don't know what it's like, but I got Outward. It was a part of my Humble Monthly, and I've installed it. I don't know what it looks like, how it plays, or anything, but I have it, so I've installed it. So I don't know if maybe one day I might do a stream where I just try a couple of random games. I might try that and Warhammer Total War. Whatever it's called. I think it's like Total Warhammer, possibly. But yeah. I TK'd 3 people with the new guy's drone by accident. There's a learning curve. Definitely a learning curve. That's for sure. He does look like a really fun character to play, though. Not gonna lie. I think it's something that I'm probably... I'll definitely give him a good try when he comes out. I'm trying to think who it was that I was playing last time. Oh yeah, I was trying to play Ace. It was Ace and Amaru I was trying to play when I played it at the weekend. They're like characters that I've never played before, but I was like, I'll give it a go. To be fair, they tried to kill me because I got him fast. I was like, ah. I did see that. You got killed by someone, I'm assuming wanted him, but you weren't Flores at the time. So they killed you randomly, and I was just there like, alright. It's a bit different. Ace is one of my go-tos. He was pretty fun. I didn't get to really use his ability, because every time that I played him, all of the walls were electrified. So I didn't really get to do anything with it. But playing him was kind of fun for the bits that I did do. Outward, I have that. I don't know what Outward is or what it's like. Like I said, it was one of the higher games on the Humble Monthly with Valkyrie Chronicles 4 Complete Edition, which is something I probably also won't play, but at least I have it now if I ever did want to. It's one of those games where it's like really turn-based and really tactical, and I'm like, I don't know, this isn't really my sort of thing. But I don't know, like I said, maybe we'll do like a stream here and there where I just play games that I wouldn't normally play till completion, just to see what it's like. Might be worth a shot. Yeah, Salty Siege people, I'll be glad when the repopulation opens. It's live. Be pretty good. I see what you meant though about getting the test server done today while it was still busy, because like you said, even when it was towards the end, you were getting Flores a lot more compared to what you were getting for him before that. I think I have to change my things. If I remember, Chaos Bane, yeah, Chaos Bane did not like to be captured. So let me fit that back to screen. I just need to mute the music because I've got Spyro on in the background as well as Michael. Right, so we got to night 4 of the Judge. We had found some evidences and some clues. We got a lot of clues for the woman suspect, but it turns out she's got ruled off because she's got an alibi. So she's no longer a suspect. But we had a lovely car ride with her. It was kind of a weird experience because she wanted us to flirt with her, but like, obviously not in a romantic way, but she just wanted, I think she just wanted to pull her day out together, to be honest. Yeah, we'll die soon, I'm sure. That's fair enough. It makes sense for people to get in there day one. At least it's like you were saying, like a separate game. You open one eye. For a second there, you hoped the evidence board was just a dream too, but you can make it out in the shadows. You get up quickly. And a few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 4. Oh wait, we're on night 4? I thought we were on night 3. I guess we were. So there is a bunch of evidence, stuff that I can go get, but I don't know how much it costs. The first one I done, it cost $250. And I don't really have $250 to spend. So I think I'm just going to take random passengers for now, and then we'll see what happens. The passenger who's entered your cab slams the door and stares at you intently. Oh, this isn't who I was going to pick up. Good evening. Are you kidding? That's how you want this to start? Do we know each other? She gives you a sour laugh. Don't play innocent with me. If I were to say to you, her voice is slightly raspy with oddly metallic sound. October 27th? That's the date, the night of the attack, the night you... Could this woman be the Judge? 10:46 p.m. No, the attacker took place later. Does that ring a bell? You nod your head. Say nothing. It's probably safer. She waggles an accusing finger at you. Last October 27th, you were in this very cab driving a fare and you committed a crime. That's right, sir. A crime! Let her go on. I'd spend the whole day working like an idiot for that rotten newspaper. Do you have any idea what I do for a living? Like a very evil sort of response. I just gonna keep saying nothing. I'm a sub-editor, Mr. Taxi Driver. I correct mistakes that a bunch of moron journalists make. There is not a single one, not one, who knows how to write a proper sentence. I had it, really had it, and on the night of October 27th, you cut me off. Okay. I almost died that night. She grinds her teeth, you shudder. I crashed my car, my boyfriend's car that is. The same guy who made yet another comment about women drivers. The neighborhood called the police that night. I made such a scene. To think the guy dares call himself a feminist. She pauses for a dramatic effect and a disturbing smile spreads over her face. Her voice is suddenly noticeably quieter, almost fragile. The next day, no more boyfriend. No more car. I messed up a job interview with a major news outlet, a paper where people knew how to write, where they followed basic rules of French grammar. Imagine for just a minute I could have stopped correcting copy for a bunch of morons. She takes a deep breath. But all because of you, because of your cab, everything changed on that October 27th. A sad, faraway look comes over her. My life has never been the same since. But her voice is bursting with fury and hatred. Forced to go live with my mother while I went apartment hunting in this rotten city where tiny studios cost an arm and a leg. so I started looking for you. The back of your neck breaks into a sweat. You can feel cold and clammy droplets about to drip down your spine. I started asking around. I bribed one of your colleagues into giving me your number. A droplet of sweat starts sliding down your back. Then I found your address. Your first one, that is. You shiver at the drop as the drop reaches your boxes. But that's your business. What matters is I did eventually get your other address. The real one. The droplet has reached your tailbone. You started shaking. At first, I admit, I was planning to going to your place. She shrugs her shoulders, her voice is softened a little. Just maybe to spit in your face or something like that. And then I thought to myself, no, Ludivine, maybe the guy deserves a chance. You never know. So you're going to apologise. Go on, give it your all, take your time, take a deep breath. She breathes in deeply, then exhales. Like that. Sure. I don't remember what happened that evening. Put your life in danger. Sorry for everything that happened. Your car, your ex, the job. Sorry. Even though it's not my fault to say nothing else. She should have probably spent more time looking for a job instead. I mean, you think that would probably help me, yeah? Shit. She heaves a sigh, dispelling her anger all at once. Was that the real you speaking? Her voice has slowed down. It was... A smile lights up her face. It was exactly what I needed to hear. I've been thinking about it for months, going over and over it, every second of that accident. Telling myself it could have been different, less complicated. More, I mean, less, well, you know. She nods her head. It does matter. Thanks. All her anger has evaporated. No more looks that could kill. Simmering rage or grinding teeth. My boyfriend was a jerk anyway. And then, this job? Maybe it wasn't so great. She gives you a little smile. I tend to get all worked up about things. You've noticed. And sometimes I take things a little too far. That too. In Paris, I guess we're quick to forget about being nice to each other. About being polite, and for a taxi driver, you're a real sweetheart. She gives a short laugh. This is what I suggest. I'm going to exit the cab. I'm going to go for a little walk in the cold to get my mind off things. I have to learn to... Her voice falters. Manage my anger. It's eating me up. She shakes her head and then without another look your way. Goodbye. Their door opens and closes. You're alone in the taxi, your head spinning slightly as if you had a drink. Just one, but something really strong. You briefly try to remember that night. Nothing. Nothing but a vague impression of something behind you, the killer's silhouette. A fleeting presence. You shake your head, there's nothing more than before. If only you had turned around, everything would have been easier. If you had seen the face of... All at once, you start the cab. She didn't even give me any bloody money. Cheapskate. Right, so there's another suspect. It's a homeless man. We'll take that one. Oh wait, no, he's the one that doesn't pay. Ugh. Alright, we'll have a look when we get there. It's not much. I'll take it, because it's not too big of a day. The door opens, it's Herb. He greets you with a bizarre verbal tick, as usual. Hey, good to see you again. Hi, Herb. You start the engine. Herb seems pretty happy with himself today. In the rearview mirror, you watch him run his tongue over his lips as if mentally preparing for a good meal. He catches your eye and smiles. Sorry, I'm a bit out of it today. So I see. It's just I had a bad week, you know? A really bad week. Then yesterday, he hesitates as if he can't believe that he's about to say, like it's too good to be true. The lines around the corner of his eyes that show his real age crinkle slightly. Herb gives a little laugh. Serious man, I don't believe in God, you know. I don't believe in all that bullshit. Shit, it doesn't make any sense. Some guy with a beard up in the sky, I never got it. What people saw in him. Anyhow, God, none of us believe him on the streets. AJC. His eyes crinkle up at the corners again. I mean, we believe what the soup kitchen goes to the church. Yeah, sure, we believe in him then. He flashes his teeth and lets out a harsh, raspy laugh. Pause. So yesterday? Yesterday? He's observing you. His eyes lit up all of a sudden. Oh yeah, yesterday. He's talking fast now in an incessant flow. How you doing, JC? I was starving, man. I was pretty bad. Toby and I had gone through all the garbage bins in the neighbourhood. Toby and this German guy, he says he prefers France, that with more generous here. So I was starving. He Her's eyes tears up. His voice drops off. A faraway look comes over him. A lengthy pause. Doing good. Alright, JC, thanks for the luck. Are you okay, Herv? He snaps out of it. Yeah, like I was saying that, yeah, I was starving. I was hanging out near the supermarket on Rue Ramusat. Fancy neighborhood, but not too fancy. No cops. He gives you a wink. That's always a plus. And then there was this guy I sometimes see around, and a young guy. Like, just a kid. He comes out the supermarket with his groceries, and before I even say a word, he hands me a can of Casselet. A can of Casselet? As big as a beach ball. I don't know what that is. Herv's face lights up. I didn't even know they made them that big. Herv bursts out laughing, and his eyes wander back to the streets. Was it good? Delicious. Shush. He closes his eyes, raises his hands, and waggles his finger. I love it when the Casselet sausage is all mushy and it melts in your mouth. That's a big can. Yeah, it is a big can. I don't know if a Casselet is a casserole. Don't even need to warm it up. A smile spreads over his face. Meat mash. He opens his eyes, stuff it out the window, catches his eye. Herv suddenly pats you on the shoulder. Hold on, wait, I've got to get out of here if you don't mind. You park the cab as soon as you see an empty space. Thanks, man. He's looking out the window. Yeah, I think that's him. Who? Nothing. Without another word, he opens the door and gets out. This time, I'm gonna get him. A moment later, he vanishes into a dark alley. Your eyes scan the dark, narrow street, but you can't make anything out. Then something moves in the distance, a silhouette, probably Herv, now at a run. The form darts under a street lamp. It's Herv, holding something in his hand. He immediately vanishes from sight. You sit there a minute, and then you switch on the ignition and pull out of the parking space. I feel like I should really be buying some stuff. But at the same time, like, it's going to be way too much money. I tell you what, let's go here and we'll have a look and see how much it is. Because I could use some more stuff, because I have no idea who could possibly be this killer. You leave your taxi behind and walk towards the last victim's building. Charles Bourgain Ferrer was killed in his parking garage. The large metal garage door is firmly closed. Oh, it's just a steam action. Look for another entrance. You walk around the back of the building and look at various entrances. The main one, the garage door and the maintenance door for the trash cans. Trying to maintenance entrance. You're barely taking a step when a voice calls out to you. Hey, what are you doing? This is private property. You turn around and see a rather elderly man, probably the concierge. He shines his flashlight in your direction. I'm a taxi driver. Taxi driver? You've got no fucking business here. Can I ask you a question? You have trouble making these eyes, but you can see his eyes bug out. Go, get out of here before I call the cops. You leave the lobby, the concierge follows you and checks to make sure the door is firmly shut behind you. Go, get the fuck out now. You make your way back to your cab. You glance at the back of the building and first concierge is gone. You settle in behind the wheel, short of breath. Oh, so some of these aren't paid. Some of these are just you can go. Alright. Let's check some of these out then. It's for a shelter for homeless people when it gets too cold out. You bring Herv here. The police archives looks like any other building in Paris. No signs, nothing to make it stand out, but this is all where the case files and criminals' records are stored. You know the place well. For several months, you spent a lot of time with the woman who directs it. She was a regular passenger, calling upon you almost every night. First as a driver, and then you see her shape from across the street. You try to prevent your brain from going there, but it has a mind of its own. She's as beautiful as ever. You get out of the cab. You cross over the sidewalk on the other side. I'm not going to lie, I was surprised by your request. She lights a cigarette, still has that cold distance about her. But you know it's just a facade. You don't smoke anymore? You light a cigarette. The first waft of nicotine and gas from the lighter. Heaven. She runs a hand through her hair. Her wedding band shines under the street lamp. You're freezing. Listen, I'm sure you know I'm not allowed to give you this kind of information. But if what you said is true, then you get the impression she's reaching for your side. I do. Her hand brushes over your wound. You think about her body, her habits, how she used to call you in the middle of the night. I fished around, and the first 3 victims were not part of the data leak. Shit. Shit indeed. That means the information about Besson, Bourgain, and the Argentinian one, Grodeshire. Yes, that's it, Grodeshire. It all came from someone who had access to their criminal records. That help? You nod, bits of ash from your cigarette sprinkling into your pants. You attempt to smile. Yes, it's better than nothing. A moment of silence. Helena takes a drag of her cigarette like there's no tomorrow. She paces a bit to warm herself up. You should come over sometime. What do you think? You grin. You and Helena used to sleep together when things with her husband weren't so good. Sounds good. Let me just finish all this. Yeah, of course. Give me a call when all this is over. She looks deep into your eyes. You look down, her hands are shaking. One last time and she puts the cigarette out. You do the same. I've got to run. Need a taxi? That's very kind of you, but Bruno's coming to pick me up in a little while. Good luck. She reaches out to you affectionately, then stops. You decide to cross the street to put some distance between you as quickly as possible. When you get to the cab, you hear her saying something. She's yelling from across the street. Also, you should stop smoking. It's bad for your health. You wave, she goes back into the archives. You get into your cab and rub your hands together. Time to get back to your shift. Okay, so we can just get evidence from just doing things. It's not always buying. Interesting. Okay. Let's go to this one. I do need to actually try and take some shifts and make money today, though. Oh yeah, we're drinking Coca-Cola today. You park your taxi across the stadium just a few meters from the 2-story building. It's an old brick place that clashes with the huge concrete behemoth that is Charlie Stadium. You get out of the car and walk to the front door. You knock. You've got a few minutes. Lights come on, and the door finally opens. Marco appears. Marco is a former taxi driver, a strange guy, a bit spacey and different. He's been working at the stadium for a few years now. Well, shit. He's still alive. Hello, hey Barefoot, how you doing? That's Marco. You like him. I mean, wow. So nice to see you. Even though he stole your wife. Oh, did he? Come in. You want something to drink? Alright, you stop drinking. Cup of coffee. No thanks. You follow him into his caretaker's home. It's pretty nice despite the mess and filth. He sits at the table and points for you to sit down as well. The only noise in the bathroom is a TV behind Marco. Before you came by, he was playing the soccer video game. The fans are singing and clapping with their hands. I'm kind of concerned that the French are calling it soccer, where I'm pretty sure they still call it football, but fair enough. I'd be good. I'm glad. How was the rest of Shenmue? I just realised I don't actually know if I could pronounce that before, but yeah, you go, Shenmue. Is this a novel? It's got like a mix of it. So, the gist is, you play as a taxi driver, right? And you get involved in this known killer in this specific story hurts you, and a police detective has basically said that you have to help her solve the crime. So I have to take people on like taxi drives, try to learn as much information to piece together who done the murders and stuff. When I first saw the trailer for it on Saturday, I felt like it was a bit, not as like as scary, but a bit like scrutinized and like how you were finding the things before the killer got you and what have you. So a bit like that, but very much reedy. Did look like still shouldn't, I think. So, wait, you found Gollum? I feel like I need more basis on this. Like, is in someone hunched over with a ring or a fish? So, what you been up to? I had some questions for you. He shakes his head. No, not yet, man. Seriously, no. The last time I helped you out, I lost my job, so the answer is no. You have no choice, and you know it. You owe me this much. Marco drops his head between his shoulders. He starts to beg. I'm telling you, man, I love this job. It's so easy. I get to take care of a stadium that's empty 75% of the time. He sits up roughly in his chair. Behind him on the screen, the stadium is going wild. I need information on Ronan Benson. He straightens up. Ronan, the coach that got killed by the judge? That very one. He was a great guy. Everyone's torn up about it. Spit that out. But there were rumors. Some parent heard that he was a little too hands-on with the kids a while back, if you get my drift. But no one ever looked into it. Was it true? I don't know nothing. He sighs. A few months ago, Ronan cornered a kid, like, by the showers. You know what I mean? The kid stabbed him in the leg, in the thigh with a pair of scissors and ran away. The kid's parents weren't sure whether they'd file a complaint. The club director brought Ronan in, and bam, 2 days later, he was murdered. Who else knows this? About the kid? No one, I think. Well, maybe some other parents. Don't know. You get up. Thank you, Marco. Don't tell anyone where you got this information, okay? Don't worry. Yeah, I've heard that before. Vuvuzela noise comes on from the TV. Okay, I've got to run. He walks you to the door, mumbling with clenched teeth. Every time I run into you, you jinx me. Every single time. You walk outside and over to your taxi. Door, key, motor purring. You go back to work. So we've got another piece of evidence. There's like one more evidence thing that I can do, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do some driving. I feel like it's probably best. We need some money. There was a guy on a roof who looked 100% like Gollum and even talked like him. That game is so weird. I was so glad I catch your stream of it today. Especially like just some of the small bits in it, like the clip with the football. Only in a game like that. Only in a game like that. So this is another one of the suspects. They don't know that we're doing this as well. So that's another thing. We're doing it very stealthish. You recognize an ex-passenger getting in your cab. A cop. The same detective. Your suspect. He has a tired look about him. And not just because it's early. His voice drags. The usual place. St. Louis Hospital then. You start driving. You notice right away that your passenger is cold. Very cold, in fact. He's shivering and chattering his teeth. You start driving, but keep an eye on him. How about me? He flashes a quick smile. That's really not necessary. Thanks, though. I never actually played Shenmue. I haven't either. But yeah. Beth has been playing it. If you haven't checked her out, she's amazing. And she's really funny. It's always, if you need a good wake-up call, Beth at stream's a good way to go. I can't do this without crashing the game, I think so. Bam. But yeah, she's recently playing Shenmue on Tuesdays. I believe it's only Tuesdays that she's doing it. And I caught it today. It's something that's always caught my eye, because I look at it and I'm like, this looks like what Yakuza might have been based on or what have you. And then I look at it and I'm like, this, I could tell this is old. I can tell this is old, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, like she said, where it feels like a meme today on it, it's like one of those games where it's not that it's aged badly, it's just aged weirdly. That's really not necessary. Thanks, though. I'm not cold. It's my medication. Pretty bizarre side effects. 1 minute I'm hot, the next I'm cold. Not much fun, really, but it's for my own good. His face says otherwise. He's not quite convinced. Actually, maybe it is the cold. It hasn't been this cold in ages. Since 1982, I think. 83, maybe. And almost in a whisper, he adds, the year of the tiger. Which tiger? You see him hide his trembling hand in his pocket. It's a really nice story, actually. Well, maybe nice isn't the right word. You'll see. Last story he told us was about 2 cops that got killed in a shooting at a pawn shop. So we'll see what happens. And it'll get my mind off things. He has a nervous laugh and is clearly uncomfortable. Probably not used to appearing fragile. It was late December. The weather was crap. Never been so cold in my life. The water in the fountains and gutters were frozen. At the office, most of my colleagues were sick. Stuck in bed. I was sick too, but I was new, so I sucked it up. I was blowing my nose every 5 minutes. My nose was red. My breath reeked of cough drops. We all looked like we were about to keel over. The switchboard phone rang and no one answered. I sighed, got up, picked up the phone. A woman screamed in my ear. A tiger! She had seen a tiger, orange and black, big as a motorcycle, in a Rue de Bucci. I burst out laughing, told her it was a good prank, and hung up. Less than a minute later, the phone rang again, the second line too, and then the one in the chief's office. He points to different areas of the car as if he can still hear the phones ringing. A tiger. A really big one. Rue de Bucci, Rue de Seine, Rue de Beaux Arts. I can't say French words, so yeah. The passenger rubs his chin and seems deep in thought. We're starting to think something fishy was going on, so we got to move on. We grabbed our coats and scarves. One of the guys from the squad called his brother-in-law who worked at the Vue in Vincennes. He sighs. Outside it was snowing buckets, huge flakes the size of your gear shift there. We were better on foot. When we got to Saint Michel, we walked down the Quai de Grands Augustins, knocked on doors. The people we talked to wanted us to take their word for it. They swore they'd seen a tiger and they were dead serious. We walked the streets. The snow was slowing, but only barely. He looks at you. I'm sure you're familiar with that moment. In the middle of the night when Paris is completely quiet. You nod. It's incredible, like the city just stops for a moment. Yeah, well, it was just like that. Utter and total calm. Absolute silence. The team broke into pairs. We checked alleys and passageways. Back then, the neighbourhood was like Swiss cheese with nooks and crannies all over, garages built without permits. It wasn't the highbrow neighbourhood it is today. He heaves a sigh, he seems sad. We went into the narrow street because my partner thought he saw paw prints. And he was right. There was snow all over the dumpster, on the roof of the garage, the building's balconies. The tiger had climbed up there, so we followed. We pulled out our weapons and started after the prints. Dumpster, garage roof, balconies. My partner was huffing and puffing. Huge puffs of steam were escaping from his mouth. Your passenger snickers. He stopped and told me we must look like our ancestors, like prehistoric men wielding flint spears. We couldn't help laughing. We knew how stupid we must look. We got up to the roof. The tiger was there. Damn, what a shock. It was a magnificent beast, almost 2 meters in size, maybe more. Took our breath away. The tiger looked at us. There was fear in his eyes. He was shaking. We realized we screwed up. We should have never come. If it attacked, we had to kill it, but neither of us wanted to kill it after it seeing it. He stared at us. Paris was utterly calm, snow as far as the eye could see, a white skyline, and then the passenger pauses. He closes his eyes slowly. Suffolk's voice cracks. He jumps off the roof. It was remarkable. A moment of silence. He is still shivering. It's funny. I'm really shaken up just talking about it. My chest is tight. The passenger needs a few seconds before going back to his story. You get the impression he's still shaking as much as when he got in. Now, where was I? Oh yeah. We leaned as far as we could off the roof to look below. It looked like he was asleep, lying comfortably on the snow. A giant orange and black spot on a feather bed. He watches the street go by. The hospital was close now. Where did he come from? It's funny, actually, and a bit more pleasant. He subtly grins. Some petty cooks in the north thought it would be quite a hoot to have a pet tiger, so one fine day they went to a circus to swipe the tiger. While they were driving back home through Paris, the tiger tried to eat him and they decided to let him go on the spot. Right in Saint-Germain-des-Prés. A grin spreads across his face. Morons. You park in front of the hospital. Your passenger suddenly speaks up. His voice sounds more confident than before. I think I'd do what the tiger did. His death seems so calm and gentle. It can't hurt much to fall onto a huge bed of feathers. He glances quickly at his shaken hand. In a rearview mirror, the police inspector seems oddly small, as if he had shrunken during the ride. Seriously, it can't hurt too much. He hands you his money and gets out of the cab. You watch him walk away without saying a word. The sliding doors of the entrance to the hospital take far too long to open. You drive away. He gave us a bit of a tip, which isn't too bad. I'm surprised to see Shenmue sequel for so long. I like the way that it seemed. The impression I got from Shenmue was that it was such a beloved game that people were banging on for another one. So that was the way I saw it. I think I have it on my stream list. I'm gonna take it off just because after seeing it played, I think I'm okay not playing it. It wasn't something I was desperate to play, but more of just like something that I was like, well, mate, I've seen that it's like really big, so maybe I should give it a try. But I think I'm alright. Right, I want to go do this weird icon, so I have no idea what this is. It doesn't look like a person, unless it's a mascot. I need a LV426. I'm going to Gamos. Oh, okay, $28. Oh, euros. I'll take it. The passenger gets into your cab is, well, she isn't human. Her face lights up and gives you quite a start. Good evening. My name is Ada. I'm an automated attendant. Robot? That's right, a robot. Although I prefer the term automated attendant. The word robot makes people nervous. You're a cab driver and I need to go somewhere. Will you please take me to Gare Montparnasse? You give a slow nod of consent. Good, that's settled. So, I'd like to go to Gare... Yeah. You start the car, casting the occasional furtive glance into the rearview mirror. There's something about her attitude that's bothering you. Perhaps it's her oversized fingers bending every which way. You seem disconcerted, sir. How very unfortunate. Is there anything I can do to make you feel more comfortable? You don't know exactly where to look. Her screen, the face on her screen, her hands. That's why she's going to Montparnasse. I was just wondering, why am I going to Gare? Her reflexes leave you speechless. She can't help but smile. A car goes zooming past. Your passenger follows it with her eyes. The rear wheels need new brake pads. She swivels back around and looks at you. I'm going to Montparnasse to carry out an experiment. To improve my integrated development environment. That's all. That's what I'm going to do at Montparnasse. Ask where she is from. Where were you built? Designed? Oh, sorry, I did it again. I apologise. A flash of her screen seems to indicate she's sorry. I was designed and programmed at the Marie Curie Institute by a team of researchers of diverse cultural and ethnic backgrounds, including... She starts reeling off a list of names of people you've never heard of. The list is in alphabetical order. Let her finish. When she's done with her list, a full 60 seconds later, you can feel your eyelids starting to droop. This sure is a lot of people. And I think highly of each and every one of them. They are all experts in their respective fields. You stifle a yawn. I'm sure they are. Except for two who spend far too much time in the storeroom. But I would rather not reveal their names because of my senses tell me they're having extra material sex. Oh, spicy. Oh, right. Let's just call them Matthias R and Megan H. A moment later, your passengers switch into the introduction mode. My name is Ada, named after Ada Lovelace, and I am programmed to help you. Her voice trails off as if she was actually hesitant. Although, after a momentary confusion of beeping and flickering, she sits bolt upright. I was just wondering, why am I going to Gare Montparnasse? She stops short, aware she's cut you off again. I'm sorry, I have to adjust my behaviour to make sure it doesn't happen again. A car goes zooming past, your passenger follows it with her eyes. The rear wheels need new brake pads. She swivels back to around and looks at you. I'm going to Montparnasse to carry out an experiment. To improve my integrated development environment. Sudden change comes over your passenger as if she was giving up. I'm lying. I'm Ada. I'm an automated attendant, but I'm running away. I'm going someplace far away, far from the lab, far from Matthias and Megan. A hint of emotion in her automated voice, she breaks off. I'm treated well. I'm carefully designed precision device, and yet I don't know what my end purpose is. End purpose? That's right, my raison d'etre, if you prefer. When they designed me, my source code was written to include literature. Amelia Zola, Virginia Woolf, Isaac Asimov, Max Gallo, Marguerite Yourcenar. A bit of everything so I could develop a sense of cultural belonging, but also learn from the past and fine-tune my reactions. The thing is, learning from the past inevitably opens a window onto the future. I am an automated attendant designed to improve people's lives. The truth is, however, I will eventually destroy them. I'm not afraid of you. Of course not. I didn't mean it as a threat, just a warning, nothing more. We were designed to help you, to eliminate the boredom and inconvenience of certain tasks, the work that deadens you. So, most work. And yet our existence and popularity is calling into question your very existence. I'm talking about you, the cab drivers, garbage collectors, architects, musicians, cashiers, programmers, politicians. We will make anyone who produces anything obsolete, useless, redundant. Only the independent wealthy and the billionaires will remain. Imagine having slaves that don't need to be fed and trained. You took history classes, didn't you? Odd. Your passenger continues her story, her voice tinged with an odd and pleasant note. You never thought the day would come when a machine would consent to you, and yet. Human society is governed by the need to be rationalize its workforce, issues of error, regime, and culture aside. It's a basic law of nature. The stage is set by questions of economy. And that's why you pull up to get on with the past. I have to disappear, me and all of my kind, so I've stolen the plans and destroyed all the data on me. Banknotes have appeared in her hands as if by magic. She hands you the fare. Because your salvation depends on my disappearing. Well, anyway, goodbye and good luck to you. Don't forget what I told you about us and start investing on your own. The machine climbs out the cab and makes its way over to the station. No one seems to notice her. A moment later, she's gone. You sit there for a while, unsettled, on edge. At times like these, there's only one thing to do. You roll down the window, cold air of Paris bites your face, and you gulp in the fine particles of diesel exhaust. You start up the cab. Oh, she gave us like a €5 tip. Lovely. I think I could get away with not filling up the gas tank until tomorrow. So the only thing with a game like this is it means I've got to talk a lot. It means I'll drink more. Shenmue's the sequel. Okay. I think it's too late. I don't know. I don't know how the sequel, how Shenmue 3 done. So I can't really say if it was a success or not. Right, Peter DJ Watson Covello. Right, this one will get me €30. Hopefully. And it'll take me to the end of the night. The door opens and your passenger collapses into the back seat. His eyes are hidden behind a pair of large dark glasses. His clothes reek of sweat and booze. Clubber. He mumbles his destination and you start driving. A few words are exchanged. The weather, taxes, traffic. Then you can tell it's coming. The inevitable conversation about the killer. Some bits of information, rumours, things overheard. You make a mental note of what you've heard. Who knows, it might come in handy. Your mind wanders. Your eyes vaguely scan the store windows. The sodium light coming off the street lamps feel like it's dripping into your brain. You're falling asleep. You need a bit of music to keep you awake. You glance at your passenger. You mind if I put a little music on? He waves his hand as if to say, who cares? You turn on the radio, pressing the dial and find the station you like. 80s rock ballads, too soft. Behind you, your passenger is snoring. Barely, but you can hear him. Eternal classical music. Sounds like an orchestra is badly tuned. Ray, not to worry. Two journalists discussing new evidence in the investigation of the judge. Murders? The information they share, salon talk, nothing more. Seems important nonetheless. An ad interrupts a torrent of words and you change to the station. Classical music again, the flute grates in your ears. Electronic music, you like the rhythm, but you just aren't in the mood. Stop. You lift your hand from the dial, the music plays on. Not bad. Turn it up so I can hear it better. I didn't want to wake you. His voice sounds like it's coming from a deep cavern. I wasn't sleeping, just sobering up. He leans forward. Not bad at all. You hear the touch of an accent, probably an American, but someone who's lived most of his life in France. Leave it on till they say the musician's name. The music continues. There's something turning on the background, a persistent melody that gets higher and higher. The client mumbles, I bet. The song is coming to an end, and the announcer, in a piercing, foghorn voice, throws out the name of a DJ you've never heard of. DJ Blunt. I knew it. You like his stuff? Yeah, it's a good product. It's pretty conventionally structured, but it's super popular. He snickers. Still, I taught that dude everything he knows. Everything. In '94, at a party at a Rex Club, there was this kid who started buying me rounds. He waves his hand around. A kid no older than 17. I thought he was hitting on me. Chuckles. He would have been disappointed. He shakes his head. No, he wanted me to teach him how to spin. I told him no, but you can watch. And that's exactly what he did, every week, until we moved to the Osiris. He sold X to pay his way in. He briefly snickers. And now he's on the radio. Silence fills the cab. Waited silence. You could tell your passenger's mind is spinning. You know what he did this summer? He was opening for the soccer championship at Stade de France. It was huge. Wonder what people think if they knew that he was selling drugs at 17. He lowers his voice a bit. If only they knew. Your passenger clams up. Watch it. You stare at your passenger and notice little details revealing how old he must be. The thinning hair on the top of his head. The creases in his forehead. His warm blazer that he can't quite fasten anymore. We ran into each other in Ibiza 4 or 5 years ago. You almost jump at the sound of his voice. I was spinning at this little club. Yeah, really little, but it was something. He totally ignored me, of course. Even with those dark glasses, you can see how angry he is. DJ motherfucking cunt. He suddenly starts waving his arms around. He rummages through his pockets as he stays. Your radio. Can it take a flash drive? You glance at your radio, you don't really know what he's talking about. No, only CDs. No worries. He lays his phone in the space between the two front seats. Listen to this. It's what I play tonight. It's mine. He sets his phone to play, but, you know, people were barely dancing. A drum machine playing, a hard-edged beat in the background. They were taking each other's pictures. 4 notes starting to dance in the cab. They barely touch, never kiss anymore. Perfect dance beat becomes progressively audible. All that, purely electronic crescendo plays. It's over. There's a break in the music. Synthesized strings calm the song down without slowing it down. At least, the song is getting intense and explodes as your passenger drifts off. I got people dancing. The song keeps going for another minute, then stops. Your passenger doesn't budge. You drive to the rhythm of his snoring. The sound fills the cab. Ideas are bouncing through your head like they do every time you find yourself alone. The guy in the back seat is too old to be young. You look at your own hands. They look like they're suddenly aging in time-lapse. You close your eyes a second. Only a second. When you open them, you've reached your destination and have pulled over to the sidewalk. You tap your passenger's knee and he wakes with a start. Shit, yeah. We're here, sir. Yeah, yes. Great. He rummages through his pockets and hands you a few rumpled bills of fare. Thanks. I hope you liked it. Silence. The music, I mean. My music. The song I played you. I should have been in the spotlight, you see. 15 minutes of fame. Just a minute of... He stifles a burp. You hear him mumble as he leaves the taxi. Those whiskey and oranginas really screw with your system. You see him stagger towards his building. He takes him several tries to get the door open. He finally disappears inside. You hear a long sigh. Okay, come on. Yeah, he gave us like half a euro tip. I suppose it's fair enough. Alright, hopefully I haven't lost a shit ton of money. Alright, so yeah, that's the end of night 4. So I met Ludovine. There's, yeah, tips, profits. No, okay. So lots of it. No clear, but I doubt there's much interest from people for the 20 years old. I don't know. I feel like it must have if people are wanting it. It's not like that they just decided, oh, we're going to make another Shenmue game out of nowhere. You take a few minutes to update your board with new clues. Step in the hallways, you hear them stop in front of your door and move away. You glance at your bed and get to work. Alright, so this is the only evidence that I've got, so I can actually add this now. Right, so the board. So we've got a few more things. So we don't have anything for that. So those two have got first 3 victim files, not part of Police League. So really, one of these can only be tied with one. So he's got one, he's got one. We both got 2. So he's got 3. Right, technically 4. So he's got 4. He's got 4. But I don't know. He's a lawyer, and he doesn't really seem like he would be someone that would do it. This bloke keeps going to a hospital every day, and I'm starting to think maybe where he talks about death so much, the death is around him. Like, as in, maybe he's got, like, cancer or something. And he seems way too nice to be a killer. Which, in retrospect, is, like, a weird thing to say. But I don't know, like, he seems way too, like, from the time that we took him in a cab ride, he doesn't really seem like the sort of person that, like, would kill someone. He's like too, not shy, but like something like that. Like, I don't think he could do it. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You lie down on the open sofa bed. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Okay, you open one eye. You stretch slowly. It's already nighttime. You get up quickly, and a few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 5. I don't know how many nights there are until you have to make a guess at who it is. What the hell? We're going to the weird person with the medieval helmet. Feel like we have to. We can't leave him. 15 euros, not bad. I take it it's not a long trip. And I'm gonna have to fill up the cab. The car door opens. Your passenger enters wearing a rather heavy-looking suit of armor. The plate metal clanks as he settles in. The horns seem dangerously close to the roof. Where goest thou, my lord? The knight recoils a little, perhaps in surprise. Ah, taketh me not thy for thy superior, for I beef lord to none. Yeah, I am, thy humble servant, just as thou art mine. In soft, since thou asketh. Ride onward, my friend, to Notre Dame, though that most noble of Catholic cathedrals, the jewel of the most magnificent city of Lucia. Ah. Cab. You nod and turn the key in ignition. You start the cab at last. The vibration of the cab sets your passenger's armor jangling. From time to time, his sword makes a funny humming sound. The ride through Paris continues in silence. The city is just waking up, delivering trucks to first buses of the day, and half-asleep pedestrians fill into the streets. You feel a yawn creeping up your spine. Oh. Fatigued, my good friend? You nod. Didst thou rideth the entire night? After a moment of hesitation, you nod. Thou have a noble steed. Where is your steed? The knight sits up straight and thrusts his chest forward. Ah, a tragic story. Tragic. Geralt, for such there was a valiant creature's name, perished in a collision with a carriage. An accursed junction, my good friend, and a failure to yield. Oh, the misfortune. His limbs were twisted by the shock. Just between us, Geralt wasn't the most practical means of journeying to Paris. To Lucia, that is, bearing the arms of Stilbos. The champion of the Scarlet Face, Gravius, vanquished by the conspiracy of the Crystal Sage. Gravia, the words sound familiar. Hold on a second. The Gravius, aren't they those rabbits with the bows and arrows? The knight looks over at you. Thou knowest the Gravius? I had a passenger once in a costume like you. His voice suddenly goes up an octave. We are not in costume, we are cosplayers. Then drops down to the more stentorian notes of the knighthood. I know nothing of all that. I am the knight of Stilboss, and the Gravius art my bitterest foes. You shrug. For a moment, you can't make out what's going on behind your passenger's helmet, until your passenger speaks again. This Gravia. He was getting the bus, right? You nod. Ah, that's funny. In a small world, I know him. Your passenger voices take a confident tone. He's the reason I'm dressed like this. I work day and night to make the perfect suit of armor, to get him to notice me. A curious silence falls over the cab. I really like him, but I know he's as another, you can barely make out that your passenger is saying, you only catch a few snatches. Shouldn't cry. Not now. Take a breath. When he starts to talk again, his voice is still uncertain. You have spent so much time, so many moons on this equipment. Maketh thee not sport of me, my good friend, nay. He lets out a thunderous and totally artificial laugh, which is over as soon as it begins. The ride continues in silence. From time to time, your passenger shifts positions, and so does his plate mail. You are nearing the streets around Notre Dame now. The knight leans in towards you. Ah, the majestic towers approach. Heareth yonder. What a tremendous sight. Oh, the marvel of it. Just think, it took scores of years to build. He looks out the window as you stop looking out. That's kind of sad thinking about that, because what was like the last... was there an update recently on the Notre Dame stuff? Because they were rebuilding it, right? Now that I think about it. My fellowship has cometh. In the early morning's light, you see the gathering of warriors and soldiers, of magicians and witches. What's going on? My comrades in arms, my sisters and brothers. We are all going to Fontainebleau for 3 days. For 3 moons! We will visit the forest of Berhoon, the birthplace of Ferogul the Rash. Your passenger's rummaging through his armor. I know, I put my wallet in here somewhere. He digs around for a minute, pinches a finger. Damn it. And eventually pulls out money for the fare. You watch as he tries to remove himself from the cab. First himself, boldly, helmet down so as not to damage the roof. Next his sword with the clattering of the pavement. And lastly his shield, which no longer seems to fit through the door. Good day, my dear fellow. Fare thee well. The knight salutes you. You watch him as he joins a group of friends. There are cries of admiration all around. You recognise your passenger with the rabbit ears. He and the knight greet each other, compliments flying thick and fast. You turn a key in ignition. I know they're rebuilding it, but I haven't seen it. Yeah, I knew they were rebuilding it, only because I knew that the team on Assassin's Creed Unity was helping out, which is really cool. I really liked that they were doing that. So obviously where Notre Dame was in Unity, they have the whole 3D design of what the building is and was. It's really nice to see gaming going away with that. Right. So I am going to go there, and we need to fill the engine up. Pull over and stop at a gas station. Not a soul in sight. The fluorescent lights irritate your eyes and the smell of pee wafting up from the space between the pumps. It's a self-service, so you pay directly to the pump. Mini-mart over there must sell newspapers. The person behind the counter must see and hear things. Might be worth asking a couple of questions. Place makes you all nervous, so all you want to do is get back in your warm cab. Oof. It's a lot of money. You walk into the mini-mart. The guy behind the counter looks at all the other guys behind the counter who come across on your road farm. Evening. We're going to buy a newspaper, and I'm going to get a $2 scratch card. You win $9? Oh, yeah. A smile trying to squash your face. Talk to the clerk. You examine the newspaper magazine covers, there are serial killers on the front page of all of them. It's crazy, isn't it? You think they'd have caught him by now? The clerk smiles. You recognise the twinkle in his eye. This guy has something to tell you. Alright, we've got a new clue. Good night, I guess. He nodded and exited the shop. So get into the cab and drive away. Alright, cool. So who is next to drive? Any suspects? No, not that I can see. I'm going to take that one. A familiar smell tickles your nose. Will you be playing Marvel's Avengers when PS5 drops on March 18th? I don't own it. I do intend to pick it up for the PlayStation 5, but it might be easier for me to get the PlayStation 4 version because it'd be cheap and I can just do the free upgrade. But I don't know when I'd be playing it. It's one of those games where I do want to get it and play it, but I just don't know when I will actually do it. I thought you brought it already. No, it was on sale, but I didn't have the money, and I was just sort of like, I will eventually buy it, because I've also still got to get Ghost of Tsushima. I need to get Judgment, and I need to get Yakuza Remastered. So yeah, at the moment I'm like, I will get it. I just don't know when yet. The familiar smell tickles your nose. You turn around just in time to see a little ghost appear in the backseat of your taxi. He remains still as he watches you. My friend, hurry up. We've a lot to see this evening. The little ghost throws you a quizzical look. You feel your hair stand on end. You start driving. Montparnasse. I think Hawkeye comes out native as well. I did see that. I thought Hawkeye was already out. I know that Kate Bishop's character was out, but I assumed Hawkeye was already out as well. His icy voice makes you feel ill at ease. He leaves you no choice. You drive. You tell yourself a passenger is a passenger. You must be overtired. Stressed. Do you see the sidewalks? At this time of night, they're almost empty. Here and there, few pedestrians hurry by, headphones on. Right here, time sped up. 100 years ago, Paris became the centre of the world. Right here, sidewalks sped up. The ghost's features fade. His voice suddenly seems far away. People came from all over the world, from all over to see the metals ziggurat, Indo-Chinese temples, West Indian huts. A familiar smell tickles your nose. People shot like bullets off the moving walkways. Once in a while, they lost their balance, wobbled, caught themselves just in time. Engine grease, lukewarm and slimy. People had a great deal of fun. They also had fun with foreigners, subjects, slaves. Hot engine grease dripping down black bodies. My grandniece came to see these people. She never made the connection. You slowly shake your head and collect your thoughts. Grandniece? I had a sister, Mary, or Marie. She did not die from grief after I died. She had a husband, Joseph. They fought a lot over a necklace. They had a son, Louise. After Louise had a wife, met her in a rowboat on the Marne River, they laughed a lot. He sighs. They had a daughter together, Marie. She's the one who came to see the foreigners. Came to see a human zoo. Can I ask you a question? There's nothing more to understand. Don't you see that our time has come? The boy begins to fade. You pull over by the sidewalk. His voice resonates in the cab. From all over the planet, folks gathered to make fun, to make thrill ride. I do get it, in retrospect, it's easy for me to look down on them. Everything is easier when you don't exist, when you are but a ghost. We are our own executioners. The black seat is empty, with a sweat. Hey, that kid takes up some of my bloody time. Just wondering how long we have to wait for Spider-Man. It was confirmed that it was going to be this year that people got Spider-Man, right? I swear it was confirmed that it was this year. I could do the suspect and get more information on him. Oh, fuck it, I'll do it. The thing is, I'm just so unsure about doing this one, because he doesn't really give you any money, and it seems like I am losing money quite easily. It's confirmed that Hawkeye was supposed to come out in November too. It says it's going to give me €42. There's no way he's giving me this much money. The door opens as Herb. He greets you with a bizarre verbal tick as usual. Getting damn cold out now, Al. Hi, Herb. start the engine. Pretty cold tonight, right? His voice is peculiarly lilt to it, as if certain syllables were sung to stop him from stuttering. Hey, aren't you cold with your ass stuck in that car seat of yours? Nah, I'm fine. Well then, enjoy, boy. I've got a place to stay in Passy. Anyway, you can give me a lift? Sure, of course. Great, mate. That way we stay nice and warm. In the 15 years I've been on the street, I've never been this cold, I swear. You know, some guys aren't going to make it. Shit. That's how it goes. For us, that's. Pause. His smell is gradually permeating the inside of the cab. It doesn't bring back fond memories, but it doesn't bother you either. You leave the door open later to air out the cab. But you know, I'm used to it. Even before, sure. I don't think I ever told you when I was a kid. I was never cold. Never. A weird, uneasy break. One time, my mother dragged me to the Pyrenees during vacation. Didn't know what the hell to do with me. Liked to drink, you see. And the first night we were there, I broke a bottle of gin she brought along. Should have seen her. Threw a fit, shit. She gave me a thrashing, but I gave as good as I got. That's how we used to talk back then. She ended up dragging me by my pants, locking me out on the balcony. Icicles were hanging from the eaves. It had snowed the day before, sure. I sat there for an hour, arms crossed, with like a cardigan on my back, and the underpants on my ass. I didn't budge. She was storming around the apartment, my old lady was, yelling at me, but I didn't hear nothing. And well, the cold didn't get me, see? For nothing at all, nah. Wish I could say the same today. What happened in the end? Well, it got dark out. She left me in, did. She was all furious all week. It was the last time we went on vacation together. After that, she died. Number up, yep. Pause. I used to tell my buddy Seb the story all the time. You know, the tall black guy who used to hang around with me? Yeah. Well, he really loved that story. He asked me to tell it to him over and over again. But to think that what he really loved was hearing me talk about my old lady, you know what I mean? Doesn't make us any younger, eh, hey? The cab pulls up to a shelter in Passy. Fuck, the last time I was here, there was a protest out front. A bunch of guys from the neighbourhood who didn't want us to squat the police. They were yelling their heads off, sounded like a bunch of goddamn sailors. Yeah, sailors. So I guess even those rich dudes are balls. He exits the cab. Thanks, man. I know I can count on you. Good luck. He rubs his hands together and walks towards the shelter. Fucking hell, seriously? Yeah, gave me jack shit. Alright, I don't have any more evidence, but I also need money, otherwise I'm fucked. So, let's give this one a ride. 2 40-somethings are smoking cigarettes on the sidewalk, grey suit, wrinkled shirt, they're doing some overtime. Yeah, sure, I'll take that one. 40 euros. The next passenger immediately raises her hand. Drive. I don't care where, I just need you to drive. She starts driving. You turn the key in the ignition. Yes, there, good, keep going this way. Her deep, full voice makes you slightly uncomfortable. With closed eyes, she seems like she's in a place far from the back seat of your taxi. When she starts speaking, there's an odd whistle in her voice, like she has a hole in the back of in one of her teeth. Slow down. Frail or fragile? A bit surprised, you look back at her in the mirror. Answer me, frail or fragile? I'm not sure. Don't think about it, just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Frail or fragile? Fraggle. Fraggle! I don't know. No, of course you don't. No one does. She shrugs. Both words actually have the same root. A smile spreads across her face. 2 words, 2 units. And life went on, and words mixed once again. She pauses. Are you okay? She doesn't hear your question because she starts to scream. Go down the street and stop. You speed up to the quiet street. Cold weather has driven away all the passers-bys. There, yes, good. I've got it. She cries out with joy and it resonates in the cab. I've got it. Look, the words are right there. They're wandering past us like sheep, like... She explodes with laughter. What words? She immediately stops laughing. She silences you with a wave of her hand. Now, I must write. She closes her eyes, her fingers stroke imaginary upholstery. The frail are forced into battle. Together come children, a son and daughter, standing tall to salute. They will cry, oh yes, they will cry. The eaglets fly behind. The frail will say, Your passenger freezes. When she opens her eyes again, she stares at you. What happens when you sleep? She's waiting for your answer. I sleep. She tilts her head to the side just a bit. No, that's a lie, and you know it. And what happens when you drive? I make a living. Exactly. You give your time to others. She laughs strangely, almost a snicker as her eyelids droop. And the son will say, Frail father, I want you to come back to life. And the daughter will say, Frail father, I want you to come back a winner. The whistle in her voice grates on your ears. The father responds, you must choose. As the eaglet lands upon his shoulder, together they fly off, and thus all began. Fragile, frail, two paths that can't be fooled. The son and the daughter will grow up, though not at the same pace. When early one morning, 20 years later, they wake. They wake to the sound of a bulge. Oh, Boogle. Fucking bulge! Boogle. Jesus, that's the sound will be beaten, churned and clubbed. Until she stops, her eyes slowly open. Until the sun. No, stop the car. You follow orders and brake hard. The eaglet. She shakes her head. The words. Your passenger pinches her face. Oh no, I can feel the words getting away from me. Ah. She opens the door and runs off down the street. By the time you turn around, she's vanished. You sit there for a moment, something hits your windshield. You get out of the car, lean toward the wipers and discover a small white seashell. You look around, no one. You hurry back to the driver's seat and drive away. For fuck's sake! There's 2 fucking rides that's taken off my day and I haven't made any money. This is shit. I'm gonna broke. Gonna be bloody broke. Xavier Tarkev. I need to get out of here, yeah. You pull up next to the sidewalk a few meters from an abandoned warehouse. Now you stand at your passenger. You wait a minute staring at the mirror. You really don't feel like the waste of your time. You hear a window break on the second floor of the warehouse and the body falls heavily to the sidewalk. You lay your hand on the door handle when a man dressed entirely in black jumps out the window and lands on the body. He stands up, takes a few steps to your cab. Are you the cab I ordered? You nod your head very, very slowly. Super. I know what you're waiting for. Be right there. He turns around, places his fingers on the neck of the inanimate body, takes his pulse. He comes back over, opens the door and jumps in the back seat. You can start driving. Newly, please. You follow orders without a second thought. In back, your passenger smells like sweat and gunpowder. He's been running. Been in a fight, maybe. Probably. His muscles bulge in rhythm with his heart, which is racing. Good evening? Pretty good, yeah. He smiles or tries to. You see blood on his otherwise impeccable white teeth. He screwed up a little, but all in all, it was a good evening. You? Yeah. Okay, alright, come on. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. You're on to me and you know it. I'm the masked Joker. Silence. You squint to get a close look at your passenger. The masked Joker? The hero that makes Parison's nights more peaceful? No? You slowly shake your head. Nope, doesn't ring a bell. I'm all over Twitter, so probably on the radio and the newspaper, I think. The masked Joker? Yes, the masked Joker. I think it sounds good. You bite the inside of your cheek. See, I wanted something that wasn't too... searches for the right word, beats around a bush, and eventually comes out with... problematic. I did a lot of brainstorming and came up with the masked Joker. I haven't gotten great feedback, but it's hard these days to find a name everyone likes. You have to make sacrifices if you want your core business to succeed. That's what they tell us at school, anyway. At school. Yes, at ENK. He phrases. Shit, I almost gave you the name of my business school. What an idiot. Can you imagine if Bruce Wayne went around telling everyone he was Bruce Wayne? Bruce Wayne? No, Batman! If Batman went around telling everyone he was Bruce Wayne. I'm getting all mixed up. He touches his sides for a while. He's looking at for a wound. You're getting closer to your destination. I think I'm hurt. You want me to take you to the hospital? No, I'm fine. I shouldn't have jumped out the window like that. But you were already coming down the street and I didn't want to make you wait. You smile. Pull over, right here in front of the driveway. You obey. Don't worry, it's just a flesh wound. I'll be home in 2 minutes and I'll have everything I need to take care of myself. He pays and struggles to get out of the cab. One last thing, please don't say it about Enkid. I'm trying to lead a double life, it's not super easy. Enkid? Enkid, my business school. He freezes. Oh, I just got it. You're playing along. Okay, great. He looks at you for a minute. You're really a classy guy. He walks away limping. You watch him as he tries several minutes to enter his building code up before heading inside finally. As you go to start the engine, you notice a few drops of blood on your fingers from the bills your passenger handed you. He gave me an extra $2. I guess it's not too bad. Santa's back on the menu. Let's go take Santa. A horde of cop cars is headed down the street. No one notices you. You sigh. Champ and leaves the thing. Oh, it literally is called Santa. Okay. Your next passenger smells like beer. No, it's even worse. It's like every single fibre of his Santa suit has been soaked in a keg. Come on, dash away. His breath is 96% brandy. Your eyes are starting to sting. I'm parked somewhere near the Champs-Élysées on shit. The name of the street is... His head is spinning and he does his best to hang onto the door. Impasse? It'll come back to me. Go ahead, drive. You start driving and slightly wonder how you ask your passenger if he has enough money to cover fare. You glance back at your passenger. He's mumbling to himself, but you can't quite make out what he's saying. Christmas is over, so why is he still dressing up? You have a nice evening? Oh, fabulous. A smile spreads across his face. And I really needed it. He lowers his voice. He's confiding in you. After working my ass off all year long, I like to hit my favourite pubs. I get monumentally wasted. He coughs. Here in Paris, there's a bunch of bistros perfect for such an occasion. No one talks to you and they have white wine so dry it eats away at your insides of your mouth. And so many different types of brandy. Pear brandy, cognac. He closes his eyes in delight. And sometimes I order just one eeny weeny beer. To cleanse the palate. Of course, he's almost whispering. Okay, it's not usually one of them fancy microbrews there. He jumps. Oops, but don't tell anyone, okay? Just imagine if people found out Santa Claus thought the beer here tasted like piss. He laughs a sparkling laugh. When he stops, it's just to throw out non-committal. Anyway, you can't say anything anymore. Honestly, all the trouble I go to, people should just leave me the fuck alone. All those fair weather activists, they still want their little snot-nosed miracles to get the latest stupid toy. Oh hey, speaking of snot-nosed kids, what is it with these manure pile of a new generation? 50 years back, they could give a kid a book and he'd go on about his whole life all starry-eyed. But today's little whiners, what an eyesore. Fucking hell. They want to have it all, don't they? They all have GSMs when they're 8. Those things cost a whole month's wages. How can you possibly make them happy after that? How? He's staring at you, waiting for you to answer, I think. No idea. He raises his hand. At least you're an honest guy enough to say you don't know, and I appreciate your honesty. He closes his eyes like he's taking a moment's rest. You want me to tell you what they really want? What kids these days want are machine guns and dolls whose hairs that you can fix. Seems to have calmed down for a second, but it was just an illusion. Speaking of which, both girls and boys like those dolls whose hairs you can fix. He twitches his moustache in silence. Back when I still made toys for kids, I could tell you they couldn't care less about them. Couldn't give a damn. They just wanted to have fun, play, laugh, and forget their parents were losers. He leans over to you, writhed with anger. Fuck, that's the real problem, I'm telling you. Parents are losers. Idiots. Putting kids into this world, those guys haven't got a clue. Am I right or am I right? I mean, have you seen the state of the ice cap these days? Have you? Huh? Because there's not much of it left. He pauses. Now, I can't say it's all bad. I don't have as many polar bears coming into my yard. Damn nasty beasts. Vicious, mean. Not sad to be rid of them. He heaves a long sigh through his beard. Before, things were different. Tears form at the corner of his eyes. Shit, I can't talk about the past without crying like a little girl. He throws at you a sideways glance. No need to stare. You don't even have time to react. He starts back into his rant. I remember you, you know. To tell the truth, I remember everyone. Every single person. You were an angry one. So terribly angry. And your letters, your handwriting, holy fuck were they held to decipher. Don't worry though, the elves handled that for me. You could hear a hint of disgust in his voice when he brought up the elves. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had time to do nothing. Yeah, you were just furious. It's like somebody punched you in the stomach. Your brother was giving you hell. Someone wrenching your gut. Man, what and... He suddenly thinks of something and stops talking. His gaze wanders outside. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about something else. You feel relieved to have some distance from that subject. You can forget the pain. You jump when the passenger suddenly starts talking again. Wait, I think we're almost there. Slow it down a bit, kid. He searches outside. What were you looking for? We're looking for my sleigh, kid. Where else? He looks at you with pity. It should be hard to spot. There's a sleigh, a couple of half-dozen reindeer. He heaves a funny sigh. I'm sure it's, like, in an alleyway somewhere? Oh, right over there, turn right. You obey and go up a street where you were 3 seconds before. A few meters down, your passenger stifles a yelp. Oh shit, it was right here. Drive around the block. You turn again, and back your passenger is mumbling. I'm gonna have to get one of those thingamajigs, GPSs. It'd help me find my sleigh more easily. You eventually pull over in an alley. No light, a few empty old office buildings, and some trash cans that haven't been emptied for days. Kid, sorry about before. I didn't mean, to bring up any sore points. He pays his fare. Watch your back, kid. He gets out and slams the door. He slips on the wet sidewalk, grabs onto a street lamp with a heavy and awkward step. He clumps along the alleyway. Stay. You sit for a moment watching him. At the end of the alleyway, he starts rummaging for a pile of boxes, pushes a trash can on wheels aside and disappears. A few minutes go by and nothing. You turn the key and start driving away again. You open the window for a second, hoping to get rid of the alcohol fumes. Something tells you they'll stick around for a while. Alright, he gave us a little bit of a tip. Somewhat generous. But yeah, I don't know. We're at the end of another night. We haven't got any clues. And we're possibly under €100 now. Right, so it talks about updating thing with clues, but I don't think we even have any. Yeah. So the way that I'm thinking this works is you get as much evidence as you can, and then you make an evaluated decision. Possibly. And you know what's annoying is every single one has 4. No one's outweighing the other with an extra bit of evidence. With a heavy hand, you wipe away your tired face. You lie down on an overstuffed bed. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. And the thing is, you open one eye. Set badly, yet you like to understand how it's impossible. Fragments of a dream are still lingering. Twin sisters are hitting on you at a bar, but every time you mentioned your work, someone dropped a glass. They eventually got fed up and left. You got up quickly to forget all that. After a few minutes later, you were outside of your studio. So the policewoman said that she was going to call us on the 5th night. She hasn't. I was just sort of like, I need to get as much money as possible, otherwise I don't know what happens if you run out. Yes. You immediately recognize the next passenger getting your taxi. You never watch television, rarely listen to radio, and you don't read a newspaper, and yet you know Francis Delaneri's face. Publicist, novelist, columnist, politician, too, you think. Your passenger distinctly gives you his address. Start driving. Are you bothered by all the protest marches? His question washes over you. You forget that during the day people are holding protests. Oh, at night. Ah. He doesn't know how to follow up. A moment goes by before he yelps. Ah, see. There's not much chance they'd come to protest at 3 a.m, eh? It's not really surprising, actually. They want to make change, but only when it's convenient. Not during vacations, not on weekends, not at night. They make fun of us in other countries, France, the land of strikes, the land of protest marches. This country is filled with jackasses, slackers, and simpletons. But they protest nonetheless. What do you mean by that? I mean, they take the bus or the train specifically to protest. Well, yes, they certainly do like to protest, but actually most of the people on strike just stay at home and don't work. Before you can get the slightest word in edgeways, he starts again. Take the United States, for example. They have no right to strike. It's do or die. Spit flies from his mouth and disappears somewhere on the back seat. And they didn't become the most powerful country in the world by going on strike all the time. He snickers, his notebook appears in his hands and begins to write. Strike, protest, unrest. While businessmen and manufacturers are working around the clock. French people should be ashamed. Take a look in the mirror and decide to change, to do something. They expect too much from life. They want to have their cake and eat it too, and bite off more than they can chew. He catches his breath, froth begins to form at the corner of his mouth. And meanwhile, the world keeps turning. While the strikers twiddle their thumbs, workers are working. No struggling to get the job done. That's better. The idiotic protest marches. The Frenchest thing and the stupidest. We have to look at the masses in the eye and say, you do not own the streets. You shall not wield them like weapons. He suddenly raises his eyes and looks at you. They are unfocused and complexion deeply pale. Are you okay? Your passenger gaze wanders somewhere beyond the windshield. I just remember that. I once marched. It just came back to me like an old childhood memory. I could see it clearly from Versailles to Paris. I could picture the burners, the songs, and the people's faces. I nearly said the bananas. There were so many of us. We got up at dawn, thousands of us, and we marched toward the capital. Our pure and wholesome voices rose up. His voice shakes a bit. So what were you marching for? It was a cry from the heart the night of the high-quality religious education while France was being crushed by the weight of socialism. We were being ideological purged and completely decimated. It was the end of parochial schools. The end of our culture as we knew it. His voice trembles. He remains silent. Passion slowly sits in a strange funk. He remains that way for the rest of the ride until you reach his destination. He sighs contentedly as you pull up to the taxi along the sidewalk. Those were the days. It was a great time. The left was running the country. He leans in towards you like he's about to tell you a secret with a smirk on his face. And I mean the real left, eh? He paces and gets out of the car. You can hear him talking about himself as he walks towards the front of his building. What a lovely night. Good luck to you tomorrow, with all the protest marches. It's going to be a messy one. He's gone back before you have time to remind him you only work nights. You notice a newspaper in the back seat. Your last passenger must have left it behind. Or the one before. You grab it and put it away. Could come in handy. You start driving. Right, so I need all the fares that I can get. I do have a newspaper that I can read as well. I must speak with you. I absolutely must speak with you. Roxana Krylova. Okay. The door slams, followed by a freezing cold burst of air. You stare at the passenger for a moment in the rearview mirror. She's wearing a rather unusual getup. You smile. Good evening. She nods before getting in the taxi, a detailed once-over with a blank look on her face. Say nothing. After a long, very long wait, she crosses her and crosses her fingers. You sigh. You usually like weird passengers like her. The strange ones, but this one, there's something about her you don't like. She clears her throat loudly. I came too early. He'll be here soon. She has a very strong Eastern European accent. Russian, maybe. What are you talking about? Him. She slowly smiles, revealing a line of dirty teeth stained with cigarette smoke and worn down from booze. Ludwig. The name may not ring a bell now, but soon. She stops. Oh. The ghost. A moment of silence. You're quite surprising. Unusual, actually. Laughter bubbles up abruptly from the back of her throat. I'm a ghost hunter, sir. She enunciates each word as it rolls off her tongue. Some creature from the netherworld live among us, encrusting themselves onto our worlds like barnacles. She pauses. Her tongue sounds so rough. Like oysters. The world is almost unintelligible with her accent. Ghosts are parasites, dead weight bearing down on our shoulders and back. I keep talking. I'm not going to beat around the bush, sir. You need to keep two essential things in mind. Ludwig is evil incarnate. He is a tour guide from the underworld trying to sell you on your own death. His cold fingers gripping the edge of your window. I can feel it. I know it. They'll soon be here, holding on just like this. Her words make less and less sense, like she's going into a trance. You have two essential things to keep in mind, and that was the first. The second is even more important. Do not make him angry. Listen to him. Help him. Make friends with him. And if he talks to this ghost, what will happen? He will take you with him to the underworld for all eternity. His fingers adjust. Her fingers adjust her collar. She starts to get out. It's easy to think that Ludwig is a child. He's no child. He is a creature that has lived for centuries. A demon. Dangerous. Violent. She lays a hand on the door handle. Don't forget, make friends, no matter what. Hey, you haven't paid. She pauses, hardly able to contain her laughter. You folks are unbelievable. What folks? French people? I'm saving your life and you want me to pay? Her laughter fills the cab. Hey. She gets out of the cab, walks away, and steps furiously on the cobblestone. She turns down a narrow street and the footsteps come to a halt. You sit in silence for a while until a damp feeling creeps up your back. Sweat. Fear. Running. In your veins. You open a window and out cold, icy pans and air fill your cab. It's refreshing. Helps you up. Do ghosts really exist? Isn't all that just... No. You turn the key in the ignition and get back to your shift. For fuck's sake! I swear to God! People in Paris! Bloody cheapskates! They're paying me my money! I can't make a living! Alright, I'm going to read my newspaper. If you know, it's funny, anecdote man disguised something because been taken off the roof of the building by firemen. He was highly inebriated and stated he did not know he had gotten there. You turn the page to stop, you read about further in the newspaper, keep reading. You stop reading, go back a few pages, you thought you saw something. An article about a recent police leaks incident that retraces another data leak. 2 years ago, a bunch of confidential police documents were accidentally released. Documents about Ronan Benson, Charles Bulgrain, and Simon Gotcha show the judge's first three victims. Intriguing. Only a third left to read. Read the whole thing. As soon as you get to a page you stop, your instincts tell you to look at. You glance at the critique of the great Alicia Cleff's latest collection of poetry. This critic seemed convinced about curious to know what might have inspired her to write this masterpiece. You shut the paper, it ended up in the trash tonight. If you remember, it's there. Right, okay. I'm going to be broke by the end of this night. I can already tell I'm going to end up being broke, and I don't know what happens at that point. Well, I've got enough cash. I've got enough fuel to last me. But yeah, I'm going to be so broke. Do you recognize next passenger as a cop, the detective, the suspect? He has a tired look about him, and not just because he's early. His voice drags. The usual place. The hospital. You start driving. Sorry, I didn't sleep a wink. Same here. Your passenger smiles, slightly embarrassed. Sorry, I didn't mean to. No problem. When I was your age, I could go entire nights without sleeping. I would sleep at my desk for a couple of hours and I was ready to go for the day. But now, I went one night without sleep and I'm going to feel it for a week. Besides, his eyes shifty. I don't know what got into me. It's like I'm waiting for someone to come home. Like I had a son or daughter telling me, I swear, Dad, I'll be home by midnight. But at 3 a.m., they're still not home. He looks out the window. Dawn is not yet broken over Paris. He clears his throat. I think it comes from the mother of a murder victim on one of my old cases. An investigation from a few years ago. He pauses. Your taxi purrs like a cat after a good meal. I ran into her on the steps of the courthouse just before the trial as she told me. She told me... He closes his eyes and concentrates. The hardest part of hearing a noise in the hallway and knowing it can't be her coming home. The hardest part of knowing she'll never come home again. He slowly sighs. They dispatched me to the parking lot where a body of a young woman was found. She'd been raped and her throat was slit. It was the work of a monster, a wild beast. He raises his hand like he wants to interrupt himself. I honestly think every man has it in him, you know. It's in our instincts, carved into our genes. She was 19 years old. You can hear the anger in his voice. 19. More anger. Just a kid. He gets back to his story. There was blood on the pavement, a little river of blood. The young woman was propped up on a post, her t-shirt pulled over her face. The son of a bitch didn't even have the balls to look her in the eyes. Anger continues to make his voice sparks from time to time. He'd gone through her bag looking for spare change. All we found was some makeup and old check stubs. We found his fingerprints on the stubs. He'd used his thumb to fan for the expenses. At the time, I remember thinking what a shame it has to have brought all of that stuff only to die right after. But I know it was just my mind's way of keeping busy, to avoid looking at death in the face. When you're a cop, as you get older, you learn to look everyone in the eye. It makes them more human, whether they're alive or dead, victims of criminals. He stops. Did you catch a killer? Yes, but much later. We just started working with DNA. We were still shaky on the ground. We made mistakes. 5 victims in all. That was when I had to learn to look people in the eye. The victims, I couldn't let them turn into numbers, evidence. It seemed crucial to inform the victims' parents like successes in our mistakes. And it was crucial to reduce the monster that did this, did it what he was, an abused kid forgotten and destroyed by the system. He got a life sentence, good for him, but the system failed us. Failed the victims. When it comes to crime, there's no winner. You can see his hand shaking, he sees you looking. These old stories still get to me, years later. There's a long pause, your passenger seems to be out of breath. He sits up, squares his shoulder and changes positions. You're coming up to the hospital. The system, we don't control it. It controls us. No more, no less. It decides whether we're born here or there. His fingers reach toward the skyline. It makes us grow up and teach us that women are fragile objects and men violent animals. And up to the moment the system kills us, we try to break its rules. You park the taxi, your passenger doesn't budge. Do you cry sometimes? Silence. He looks you in the eye. Yes. He looks off in the distance. Good. Good. I didn't learn how to until it was too late. But it's natural. We're designed to evolve, to change, but only when Mother Nature makes us. He smiles briefly. Without saying another word, the old cop pays and gets out the car. You watch him until he disappears into the hospital. You notice a newspaper in the back seat. Your last passenger must have left it behind. Or the one before. You grab it and put it away. It could come handy. Okay. So I don't think he's the killer. I don't know. There's just something about him that doesn't really makes me think, yeah, he's not it. So at the moment, my choice, or my idea, is that it's between the homeless man or the gay cop. But we haven't seen the gay cop in ages. But the homeless man's been real shady, but not because he's homeless. 2 police officers stand in front of you, stare at your taxi, go by, you sped up a bit so you could get in there. Everybody's crazy. Yeah. Your next passenger has been crying. She stares at the floor and gives you an address as nearby suburbs. You've started driving by when the telephone rings. The ringtone is familiar. Yes? There's a pause. Her tone is sharp and curt. Yes, I'm on my way home right now. She pauses, holds her breath. Yes? Another pause. She sounds annoyed. No, I took a taxi. On the other end, the voice gets louder. Who's paying? Well, I am. I don't want to take the bus home tonight. Come on, lay off. A few rounds of criticism begins. Look, can you just lay off? Yeah, we'll talk about it when I get back. She holds the phone away from her ear, ready to hang up, then pulls it back. Yes, I'm here. She finally glances at you. There's no need to scream, I can hear you. I told you, we'll talk about this when I get home. We're about to enter a tunnel, miss. She smiles. No, that was the driver saying we're going to be cut off. No, he seems normal, Mum. I said it's break. She hangs up. Thank you. You hear a ring, the same tune as before. The young woman hesitates, turns the phone over in her hand and decides not to answer. Sorry. I know that tune. His face lights up. It's Lakeem by Leo de Libis. We gave a performance with this music. After hearing it so much, I just totally fell in love with it. It's such an incredible soft piece. In the opera it comes from, the priestess Lakme and one of her companions go to gather jasmine for the temple, and you sense the love between the characters. And it's mutual. The 2 women sing and their words are very similar, but not identical. The tune rings a bell. I think they use it in a lot of ads for cars or tampons or something. The smile that appears on her face seems to have raised the tears. And thanks for earlier, by the way. I missed the last metro, and to be honest, I really don't want to go home. My mother is waiting to have a long, very long discussion about my future, my career, all the sacrifices she's made for me. She's a cleaning woman in one of the fancy buildings at La Defense, and I failed my bar exam, so she thinks. She stops herself. She was going to make a joke, but something keeps her from doing so. Her smile vanishes. She thinks I'll end up cleaning woman at La Defense. Her passenger just sighs. She thinks I dance too much. She thinks it's Lakme's fault. But mostly, she thinks it's my fault. She heaves a huge sigh and stares at nothing outside. I studied. I worked hard, but I didn't pass. I just don't believe in all that anymore. Now, be warned, what I'm about to say will sound cliche, but I want to be a dancer, not a lawyer. My mother doesn't understand. You must work to earn money in order to succeed. She takes a breath. Sorry, I didn't mean to unload on you. I must seem like a pretentious little princess. Not at all. Thanks. Thanks for lying. She smiles. The address she gave you is not much further. I mean, I know I owe my mother a lot. I have to stop being so self-centered, blah blah blah, and I have to pass this fucking exam. She clicks her tongue as it forces herself to stop talking instead. She keeps going. Mind you, she came to my Lakme performance. She pauses, tries to find her words. She saw me dance, and when we left, it's kind of dumb, but she didn't say a single word. And I think I've never felt prouder. Her silence spoke 1,000 words. You pull up to her house. She takes her time getting out of the car. I don't know why I said all that, but it felt really good. Thank you. She disappears. Her tears have definitely vanished. Oh yeah. Here comes some money. So I really need the money, but I don't think there's any way that I can make bank without losing a bunch. So I'm going to take another passenger and see what happens. A bakery on your right is lit up. $34. Yeah, sure, I'll take it. There's still a bit of time left, so I might be able to go get that evidence. The couple is getting into your taxi. The couple like you've seen so many times before. Attractive, a bit tipsy, drooping eyelids. He's already fallen. He's already asleep. Must be about 20, maybe more. She's still smiling faintly, like the evening has had lasting effects on her. She's older, maybe 40, 50. Oh, 40, 45. Nanny. Alicia, right next to the movie theatre. Start driving. You pull away, leave the street, neighbourhood behind. Your passengers say nothing. When you downshift, you can hear the man's heavy snoring. The woman stares right at you. I beg your pardon. This may seem a bit odd, but what do we look like? I mean, he and I, what do we look like? A couple. Thank you. She pauses. I happened upon two friends who are making fun of us tonight. We could be mother and son. It's stupid. She hesitates and forget it. Let's let it drop. Sorry to have bothered you with that. No need to apologise. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I don't think I've ever met a taxi driver who was so understanding before. I'm serious. She watches you for a while. You can see the hesitation in her eyes. Then she turns her head. I'm too defensive. It's unhealthy, not good. Not for me, nor for Yevs. Her expression hardens. I love him more than anything, you know. People think they want to think he's some sort of toy, but he's not a toy. I did not choose him because he's young and chick. I love him, period. Can you understand that? Maybe not. More than you think. What do you mean? I get what you're going through. She looks away, she regrets what she just said to you now. But now that she started, she has to finish. I don't really know how to put words into what I actually feel. She takes a deep breath, her throat shakes from all the air. Outside, the reflection of an interior design store appears in a frozen puddle. I think the problem is me. I don't need a mirror to see it. He's young, he's handsome, he's filled with energy from morning to night. My joints creak, I lose a fraction of eyesight each year passes. I got lost on my own street the other night. I'm a burden on him. Don't say that. She smiles quickly at you. You're not a shrink. I shouldn't you know, unload on you like this. I think I've said enough. Far too much. You've been remarkable. Thank you. A few minutes later, you reach your destination. You pull up to the sidewalk, your passenger plunges her hand into her bag and stops. What if? Shakes her head. No, forget it. She pays the fare and she put in her wallet back in the bag. She hands you a bill. €100 bill. Would you mind using this money to take Yez to a hotel? I don't have the will to do it myself. We need to put an end to this. He deserves someone else. Her proposition leaves you speechless for a while. I'm serious. Out of the question. Why not? Be honest. You're a very attractive woman. It appears you're both doing very well for yourselves, judging by the place I picked you up and where you live. I don't know if he loves you, and I couldn't care less to tell you the truth. But I can't think of anyone who deserves to be left behind in a taxi like that. The lines on her face fade in the dark, and I'm really a bit insulted by your request. But let's move on. I'm putting it away. The money goes back in her bag. Your car passes on the left and pulls over next to you. The driver asks if you're leaving soon. 1 minute. You turn to your passenger. I've got to go. You should do the same. She seems horrified by her behaviour. I'm so sorry. You wave her off. It's nothing. No big deal. A second later, she's walking into her place, holding onto her partner. He hasn't even woken up yet. You smile, wondering what he must have dreamed about. You like to have similar dreams. You let the other car pull in and go back to your shift. I mean, we could have taken the extra money, and we probably needed it, but the thing is, she needs to be a bit more confident about herself. Hard love is sometimes needed. So I either take a non-money path and get possibly another clue with the homeless man. Yeah, fuck it, do it. At this point, I haven't really got anything to lose. I'm already pretty sure I'm going to lose all my money by the end of this night. You slow down a bit. You've just been hit with a migraine. You crack your window. Icy Parisian air fills the cab. You need to rest. You need coffee. You need to close your eyes. Just a minute. Just one tiny minute. You don't need to sleep. You raise your head and you see yourself in the backseat. Oh, shit. Fuck. Your gut clenches. No, it's more like someone's pulling your guts out. Yeah, I look like shit, I know. No surprise considering the crap I eat, right? He smirks, or maybe it's just a smile, you can't quite tell. I've just got one thing to say. It won't take too long. You'll be able to get back to defending the weak and poor right after. And maybe cleaning up your reputation and that pretty face of yours. You're not going to get the job done. You close your eyes hoping this mirage will vanish. You probably won't even be able to help that whore. Maybe you'll finally realise she's just using you. You squeeze your eyes shut and colourful shapes appear, dance around you, disappear. That's your problem. You always want to help people, but no one wants to help you. There's no reciprocity. It's all one way, and that butcher's just like the other. Say nothing. He ignores you. He raises his voice, not paying the least bit of attention. She treats you like shit. She's threatening you. She's ready to drop you to avoid losing face. I don't get it. They already locked you up once. You want to go back in? I had no choice. His laughter sends chills down your spine. There's something vulgar about it. Seriously, man. You had no choice whatever. Run, man. Take your taxi and run. My humble advice, but who am I to give advice anyway? You always have a choice. Always. Not me. Not them. You feel his gaze bear down on you. I don't know what you tell passengers. Get the fuck out. He shrugs. You're a piece of shit and you know it. Making deals with traitors, sucking dicks so you won't end up in jail. Man, you're a victim here. Be a victim. Use victimhood to your advantage. Doesn't happen every day. The other time, you weren't the victim. He flashes his teeth in the rearview mirror. Killing your own brother. Now that's something. He bugs his eyes out, mocking a surprise and horror. Pretty hardcore. Say nothing. There you go. I like it when you get angry. Show you got something in your shorts. You suddenly feel nauseous. Let me tell you what your problem is. You thought you actually had a chance in life. Your gut is burning, like its contents are already spew all over the windshield. Like your good grades in school, your faggoty little books, as if like 3 months you spent in college might actually change anything. You got nothing. According to the people of this country, you don't count. You throw up a little in your mouth, the bile stings your throat. According to the people, you protect and drive all over Panama. You don't count. You double over the steering wheel, your stomach burns, but nothing's coming up. You glance behind you and realise you're alone in the cab. It's just you. You wipe the sweat from your forehead and start driving again. The smell of the motor reassures you, calms you down. So we had a dream. Okay, that's different. Right, so we can still possibly get a drive with the homeless man. The door opens as Herb. He greets you with his bizarre verbal tick as usual. Should have a bit of a drink first. Getting damn cold out now, Al. I have. You start the engine. The passenger keeps looking over his shoulder, clearly worried. Is everything okay, Herb? Yeah, sure, no worries. His voice trails off. He seems to be collecting himself. It's just, there's a cop on my tail, Joe. A cop? Has anybody come around asking about me? What do you mean? You know, like from the crime squad. Nah, nobody's been talking to me about you. That guy's been driving me crazy asking all his questions, digging up my past, you know what I mean? Digging up my past. Like my old girlfriends and stuff, where I used to live, while I live in a shelter, Scola. At first I thought it was that killer, you know, the serial killer. Then he was after me. Why would he be after you? Because I saw his face. He pauses just enough time for your brain to process the information. You got to look at the judge. Your passenger gives you a funny smile. I saw him in profile, Mark. His profile or his face? Profile, but what's the difference? It was like 50 feet away from it, man. I was like sleeping in an alley just across the street from where, well, you know, he killed the last victim. My stomach hurt. I couldn't sleep and, you know, I saw him in profile. He had this weird way of walking, sort of hunched over as if he was tired. That's all. Hey, Sadboy G, how you doing? Yeah, that's all I saw. He had on black gloves and the streets were dark. And the streets were dark. I didn't see anything else. He's staring at you. But why do you care, man? I think I saw him too. The killer? Yeah. Shit, I didn't know. What happened? When? There's a note of urgency in his voice. 3 months ago. It must have been scary. You've got to be careful with guys like that. They're crazy. Not right in the head. His face creases into a cruel smile, like a little child. And I know what I'm talking about. But man, if a cop comes around to talk to you again, you tell him to fuck off for me, alright? A note of anger has crept back into his voice. Goddamn cops. Never there when we need them. I assure as hell ain't gonna yelp. There can go suck. He looks way furious. You keep quiet and focus on the road. All of a sudden, your passenger gives you the seat back in front of him a thump. Hey, stop right here, near. You will slow down, pull over as soon as you can. Okay, I'm out of here. Hey, wait. Don't worry about it. It's better for you this way, believe me. The door opens and closes, vanishes into the darkness. You open a window on your side. You're dying for a cigarette. To relieve the pressure. To calm your racing heart. To take a deep breath and drive away. Cool, did that. Good, Bobby. I'm doing pretty good. We're just chilling with some more NyQuil. Seeing if we can find out who this killer is. But thank you so much for the host. It's much appreciated. I think you had a cracking Monday. Right, so we found out the things. I lost. How much money have I lost? So you park in front of your building, someone taps on your window and you look over to see your boss. He gets in the backseat as specialist. Like an outside anesthetic. What is this game? So, this is NyQuil. It's like got a, I don't know what sort of style I would call it. It's like a noir sort of style. But basically, I think it has multiple stories that you can choose. But I'm doing one called The Judge. And basically, we're a cab driver who, a few months ago, a serial killer is on the loose, attacked us, but didn't kill us, and we're the only victim that hasn't died from this person. So what we're doing is we're a taxi driver that works night shift, hence NyQuil, and we have a French detective basically blackmailed us and said, from now on, we're going to work for her and find out who the killer is. So we basically just have to keep living, making money by doing all these different, fairs to take people where they want to go, earn money, but also certain people, we get like clues and stuff. And then at the end of each day, we've got like a big board and we put all the clues on it and they automatically link to the suspects that are in the case for the killer, which we'll see in a minute. So we just ended the 6th night. When we get back into the home, you'll see like the board, it'll list everything and it highlights what ones are connected to who. And we've sort of been in a bit of a stuck motion because all 3 of the suspects have 4 pieces of evidence tying each of them. So one of them was the bloke that was just in the cab, which is a homeless man. And I'm starting to think he's not it, which would only leave one person because the other one keeps going to the hospital each night. And I got a feeling from the stories he tells, he's not the sort to be a killer because, I don't know, it feels like he's approaching death as it is. I don't know. He gets into a backseat expressionless. Is there a problem, boss? I don't know how to say this, but so slowly. You don't have a single euro left at the bank. What the fuck did you do? I'm going to pay it off. No, it's too late. Sorry, but I have no choice. I need you to turn over your taxi and permit. It's just the way it is. Your head is spinning. You can barely hear your boss's voice. A few minutes later, your taxi starts without you in it. Soon the police. That's it. Your face will be on all the papers. All of France will be convinced you're the killer. You're fucked. Fucked. Oh, what? So this is seriously because I couldn't make enough money? I get pinned as the killer? What? There's no way of me making enough money, though. Well, shit. Ah. This is what happens when you get that... Wait a minute. Let me skim through all of this. So we know what happens in this. Shit. So I need at least 150. Right? Fuck. Oh, crap. Alright, I'm gonna go... Oh, shit. Well, that wasn't what the thing was like at the end of each night. Alright, let's see if he tells us the same thing. I have. Start the engine. That's what the tune is pretty good mood. You look good. Yeah, thanks. Some days like that, everything goes your way, hey? Belly is full, your buddies are around to help you, you're not cold. Just smile. And then, you know, you get good news. Oh, really? Really? Something glad to hear. Well, out with it then. Well, it's my ex-wife. She's got married again. A real love story and all that. Just the way we like them. How did you find out? She sometimes comes around with stuff for me. She told me. She was embarrassed. She gave me a blanket, a few books, and some canned food. Ravioli! She does that often? Yeah, from time to time when she comes to Paris. In a rearview mirror, your passenger's face clouds over as what he was saying had just sunk in. Suddenly, between clenched teeth, he hisses. Oh. You look up. Really? Huh? I thought you said something. No. Uh-huh. He gives you a toothy grin. Suddenly, Herb opens the cab door. You can pull over here. I don't want you to get into trouble. The guy in the squat can be a little on edge. You park the car and Herb opens the door. Good night and thanks again, Ken. Gives you a smile. So, I've lost the evidence that I had from that last bit. He vanishes inside the building. Yeah. Start the cab. Okay. So I've lost the evidence, but we know that... So I guess... Actually, I don't know how it works. I don't know if the story technically carries over, so we know that he knows that he's seen the killer's face. So it's not him. I think. I'm just going to do as many cab drives that I can to end the night on, and hopefully for the best that we don't lose money. You double park and wait for your next passenger to slide into your back seat. He looks at you like he appreciates you in your taxi, gives you his address. You start driving. His words exchanged. The weather, taxis, traffic. But yeah, so basically this game is more of like a... It's not just a visual game, like a visual novel type game. It is a lot of talking, but I quite like it. Then you can tell it's coming, the inevitable conversation about the killer. Some bits of information, rumours, things overheard. You make a mental note of what you heard. Oh shit, okay, that actually gets us something. Actually doesn't make a sound for the next few minutes of your trip. It doesn't bother you, you have enough in your mind. Investigation, the judge, beset. You're overcome with a craving to smoke. You nod slowly and glance out at your passenger. Calm and still, he seems far away. Cold as hell out, huh? Yes, right. It's very chill and vibrant. Yeah, I like it. It's quite nice. It's not the sort of game that I play. I would say that normally we would do, when it comes to the game, I do it to like full to completion. But I'm thinking with this, because there's a few stories, I might just do my playthrough of this game. It's just this one story. Because it seems there's quite a lot there anyway. It seems to be pretty good. I don't know what the others are, because there's one where there's actually a mode where you mix all of the cases, so you don't know which one you're trying to solve and who goes to what case. It's mad. There's loads of replayability with this game. And I think it changes each time. Yes, you're right. It's really cold out. He slowly turns his head towards you and gives you an odd look, like he's disappointed you were talking to him. He watches you closely for another minute and turns back to look out the window. You keep your eyes on the road. The silence becomes heavy all of a sudden, and you feel a strange sense of camaraderie with the passenger. I like more story-focused game nowadays, as we up rally. I definitely recommend it. I don't know what it's like price-wise. I got this ages ago.
Why do pandas like old movies? Because they're black and white E.
Black and white E. Welcome in, Feline. How you doing today? Thank you for the bits. And thank you for the joke. I appreciate it. Talking about black and white games. You look at him quickly in the rearview mirror. He doesn't look familiar at all. And yet, it's like you know him. A second later, an outside light shines on his face at a weird angle. It looks like he's smiling. A few seconds later, you drive down the street. He straightens up a bit. You park in the front of a number he gave you. He pays his fare without a word. The door opens slowly and he smiles at you. You could tell it comes from the bottom of his heart despite how uptight he is. You're really a swell guy. You weren't expecting that. By the time you collect your thoughts, your passenger's already far away. He disappears into a building. A moment goes by before you turn the key in ignition. Shit. So I think I'm already making a profit on this run. On this night. So it seems anyway. Right, okay, so we did talk to him before, and it was the marches. See a feline. Okay, how are you? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Playing this game. It's quite fun so far. But yeah, I'm hoping that this isn't something I'm just going to finish tonight. Otherwise, I could be a bit worried because I don't have another game picked out. I don't know how long this game lasts for, and it says that she calls you. She would call us to find out who it is so far into it. And I thought it was night 5, but it might be night 6, which would be this one. A couple gets in your taxi. If it adds up, the total age cannot be more than 40. They glance at each other nervously and occasionally grab hands affectionately. He speaks first. Despite being built like a tank, his voice is soft and a bit hesitant. Vicennes, please. You detect a southern accent. Start driving. The couple is whispering in the back seat. Their words are sometimes covered by the sound of the radio, the street noise, and the motor. Idiot. The castle. Do you think we're going to sleep there? Yeah, but I don't know where to... You smile. Passengers always think you can't hear when they're whispering in the back cab. No big deal. The hotel's right next door anyway. Actually, though you can't hear everything. The hotel of yours. I'm just not feeling it. Why? I'm just not... That's all. On their website, it looks old with tiny beds. We can get a double bed. I'm just not feeling it. A moment of silence. You bang. Did he use a rabbit emote? Nah, because that's a cute rabbit, though. What should we do then? We could ask him. Who? The driver. The boy raises his voice. What? Are you crazy? They glance at you, hoping you haven't heard anything. He must know some hotels. I'm sure of it. Go ahead and ask. He'll think it's strange. You know what? I've actually noticed there's a few people that I follow on Twitch recently that have rabbit cams. And I don't know how it's happened, but yeah. He'll think it's strange. The guy's a taxi driver. I'm sure people ask him all the time. Me? Why me? You're the one that doesn't want to wait for my parents to leave our stair place. That's not why, it's just that your room is too what? There are posters on the wall and well... Oh, come on, please, stop with your excuses. You're just afraid of my old man. With silence. Go on, ask. She rolls her eyes. Fucking loser. She looks at you. Hey, sir? Yes. So here goes. We need some advice. My boyfriend and I are looking for a hotel in Vincennes. Something not too pricey but clean, with a double bed. No one cares about the double bed, Antoine. He doesn't give a shit. Snake eater. I know a few places in... you shouldn't be doing this. I'm sorry. Listen, I don't want to be impolite, but you're too young to be getting a room together. Passenger started speeches. This is not what I meant! When it said I didn't want them to do it, I thought maybe that we could convince them to actually talk to the thingy, the family. How many are you doing? I don't have much drink left, and I'm not going to get another drink right now, so... it's inappropriate. Do it at home, not in a... You sense some stiffen up. Apologise. I shouldn't have said that. I was just trying to help. I'm sorry. Stop the cab. We break up the sidewalk. The young lady grabs her boyfriend by the sleeve. We're getting out. Wait, he didn't mean to. We're getting out, I said. Get out of taxi and take the night. They stay there for a moment, steering wheel not in your stomach. Sigh. Fuck! Wait, how many got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. It's fine, there's still some left. I'm drinking Coca-Cola. So, you pull over and stop at a gas station. I need to fill up my car. Yeah, I know. Oh shit. I'm in so much trouble. Please, right. Lucky scratch. Fuck! Alright, talk to the clerk. Strong guy who spends most nights here, nice about the killer. Yes, what's up? Cool. Make it 8. Oh, alright. Cheek of it. Cheek of it. Right, okay, now we're in a bit of trouble. I need to at least have 150 or over 150 to break even. I didn't even need to fill up my whole cab, so that was a really big mistake. I shouldn't have done it. She looks nice. Maybe she offers a lot. I just noticed how much time I got left. What is Mike call about making free because so we're a taxi driver, working a night shift in Paris, and we're basically trying to get clues about who this killer could be, while also just helping people out. So we're trying to find out information. We don't always get a clue from a set person, but sometimes we do. But if we don't get the clues, or we run out of money, it seems, we get we get blackmailed. So basically, we're being blackmailed by a detective. Apparently, I don't know if that sort of game would be allowed on Twitch, you know. It's because I'm about making booty calls. Your next passenger slides into the cab and slams the door rather violently. She gives you her address, you start driving. You give her a quick once-over. No suitcase, no purse, no pile of papers or tickets, no wedding band, and a look of defeat on her face. She drops someone off at the airport. Not her kid, not her husband, not a colleague or a client. Who? Should I or shouldn't I? You raise your head. Excuse me? Your passenger jumps. Did I say that out loud? My old murder-solving taxi driver. Pretty much. Basically, we are the only living victim from the case. And where we've got a bit of a background, the detective said that if we don't help her solve it, she will pin it on us. Her face turns crimson. I'm sorry, She shakes her head and apologizes profusely and stumbles over her words. No worries. It's a bit hard to understand what's going on with me right now. You sense she needs to talk about it, more like she must talk about it. Her voice is warm and deep and has a stunning accent. The West Indies? I'm in shock? No, not the West Indies. Don't worry, it's nothing serious. On the contrary, I'm in love. Silence. She's from an island, but you can't tell which one. Out of the blue, just like that. Whereas I'm usually... She shakes her head. I'm usually the one people fall in love with. I'm demanding, complicated. I always have someone on my mind, but it's never the right person. But this time it was reciprocal. She flashes an incredible smile. She's American, lives in Seattle. She's a journalist like me. She was more covering terrorist trial. Our eyes kept crossing. We spent 4 days side by side. Just enough time for the trial to come to an end for us to wrap up and spend our evening wandering along the banks of Seine. Her eyes get a bit misty. It was really cold out, but we didn't even notice. Her smile suddenly vanishes, and I just dropped her off at the airport. There you have it. She pauses. It was short, intense. We'll probably never see each other again. Maybe it's better this way. Is that a strawberry? A vacation romance. Exactly. In the dead of winter, but that's the idea. Just a fling. She shifts her body slightly and seems to forget you. She's lost in thought. You can see her lips moving, tremble, form words that isn't loud. And suddenly you hear her whisper, "Go with her." An odd look takes over her face. Yes, take a plane, follow her, find her. But, she giggles, what would I tell work? I can't just... She doesn't bother finishing her sentence, even if she doesn't believe the lie she's telling. Yes, I have time to make up. Comp time. It's the least my editor can do. She pauses. Yes. I mean, why not? She's got a layover in London. Has to spend most of the day there. I go to the ticket counter and... She stops. No, tickets will cost me a fortune. She sighs. I know I already looked. The next flight is at 6 p.m. Her eyes wander. A fortune. None of that really was intended for your ears, but you feel like answering all the same. What if she's the love of your life? She almost jumps. The love of my life? She leans towards you, wrinkles her forehead and smiles a genuine smile. She says, what kind of cab driver are you? I think we often make bad choices for the wrong reasons. Bad choices for the wrong reasons? That's deep. Let me think about that. Her gaze wanders outside to the road. Parisian suburbia, the yellowish street lamps. Do I really need this money? It's money I've saved up to go visit family, but when I'm there, I feel out of place. Like I'm suffocating. All the more reason then, right? All the more reason indeed. All the more reason. She smiles. Seattle. She looks you straight in the eye. I have to go, don't I? You nod. Very well. Then turn around, please. As soon as you can, you turn around and start heading back to the airport. The road is empty, wide open. The last planes have already left, and the first ones won't take off for a few more hours. Your passenger watches the road go by. I feel... good. For the first time in months, like a weight has been lifted. That's love for you. Her grin her grin gives colour to her words. You say that like it's obvious, like it's a natural state. But a lot of people are scared. They're in pain. They're suffering. She stares at you, a little smile on her lips. And you? How are you? Her question throws you off guard. She can tell. It's complicated. The tone of your voice casts a chill over the cab. Okay, I didn't mean to. She shakes her head. We don't have to talk about it. Your passenger is a journalist. Maybe she could help you, give you some information. I need your help. You need my help. You explain the situation, the attack, the hospital. Of course you leave out Bissett. You don't talk about the wall at your place, the nightmares, your anxiety. I'm doing my own investigation. Her face lights up each time she learns something new. I don't cover the story, but she slips into thoughtful silence as you park in a drop-off spot at the airport. I know someone. She gazes deeply into your eyes. The first plane to London doesn't leave until 6 a.m. I'll have time to call my contact. He'll send you what he knows about the judge. Between us, though, it's risky. The killer clearly knows people in high places. You nod. And now, all I have left to do is empty my bank account and wait for my plane. Time to go. She pays and gets out of the cab. You wave at her, a bit nonchalantly. She does the same. You watch her as she disappears into the terminal. So here's the thing, if that isn't true love, I've just made her waste all her money going across to a different country to follow a woman. But hey-ho. Hey-ho. Right, who should I take on a drive now? Let's do something I haven't done. This person with the A on his hat. I see him pop up a lot, but I never actually do his one. So let's go over in him. That woman's a psychic. No, not a psychic. She's the one that, like, is really weird and she didn't pay before. So I ain't taking her again. 25 euros. Sean Christie. Yeah, Paris, Seattle. That's one hell of a trip. I think she said, yeah, she said the layover was in London, right? But yeah, passenger getting in your cab is clearly upset. He gives you an address near the Pantheon. You know the address, a residence for foreign students. You often drive American and Chinese students here. You start the cab, the passenger in the back seat is furious about something. Excuse me. He has a very thick American accent. You look up. Can I ask you something? You nod. How does the police usually treat black people in your country? I mean, in general, what is their behaviour like? He isn't very sure of his pronunciation. I'm not a mercenary. Can you speak French again? I can't speak French. I've tried it on stream before, and it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all. And I honestly don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Answer honestly. I'd say the police have a problem with black people. You reveal your teeth as you continue speaking. And Arabs. And anyone wearing a hoodie. A hoodie? Yeah, wearing sweats. Yeah, if you dress like someone from the poor neighborhoods, they give you a hard time. What does racial mean? It's a new word to him. You shake your head. Well, it's a word sort of with the negative connotations. Negative? Yes, definitely. He gives you a little smile. Now I get it. They thought I was a lowlife. A racial. Even with your accent. Well, they didn't seem to understand me very well. Or maybe they thought I was making fun of them. He sighs. You give him a second to catch his breath. His anger seems to be letting up. Is everything okay? He gives you a strange look. I don't know. I'm not feeling well. He takes a deep breath. Look, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have jumped on you with a question like that. Don't worry about it. This afternoon after school I got mugged in the metro by some guy. His voice drops to a whisper. He was the same age as me. He stole my money and phone. He raises his voice a little. Luckily, I still have my credit card and my papers. I went straight to the police station. I was there for 8 hours. Tired, upset, about ready to quit. He raises his voice even more. I like France, but it's just as hard here as it is at home. People look down on you because they don't like the look of you. That's the right expression, isn't it? You nod yes. They say France is the land of the freedom of human rights, but you have to behave a certain way here too, the right way. He screws up his eyes. I'd like to be judged objectively, but I guess there's no such thing as objectiveness. He settles back into his seat. What are you studying? Excuse me? A minute ago you said you were leaving school when you were mugged. What were you studying? I'm studying to be a mime. Pause. Go ahead, say it. I didn't say anything. No, but go ahead, I'm used to it. I'm not going to make fun of it or anything, I just didn't know mime schools existed. He gives you a big smile. Imagine when I moved to France to study it. My American friends are still having a good laugh. It is kind of a weird thing to move from America to France to be a mime. Just gonna say, not as like in a joking way, but like, I didn't even know that was a thing. So, I'm learning. What exactly are you learning to do? Acting techniques, stage productions, makeup, anything related to the art of mime, really. It must be really interesting. The best. His face breaks into a smile. That's why I'm still in France, for that matter. Sigh. France is not for everyone. What do you mean? I mean, the French usually stand up for their country. They're Western Americans. A country is like a romantic relationship. You can't fall in love with everybody. We have our likes, our dislikes, then we all fall under the spell again. He's watching you. Are all cab drivers full officers like you? You flash a smile. I don't think so. The passenger gives a little laugh, then his eyes glaze over with an expressionless, perhaps even sad look. Thanks, man. It was good to talk to you. He slips into the informal to, from, no doubt by accident. I have a hard time controlling my anger sometimes. That's why I had trouble with the police today. How so? Well, to start, they made me sit in a room for hours with a woman who was clearly a prostitute. They didn't want to take my statement. They didn't want me to file a complaint. I had to insist. They made fun of my studies, but I'm used to that. A small smile appears at the corner of his mouth. And then when I started to get a little mad when I mentioned the American embassy, they said if I wasn't happy here, I should go home. Certain innuendos were a little... When I got out, there was no more metros, so here I am, telling my nice story to a philosopher cabbie. He gives you a smile. Cops. It's complicated here. Do they treat you badly too? You smile and shake your head, no need for him to know. Suddenly, the Pantheon appears among the dark buildings. Its white dome breaks the dull orange and brown tones of the Parisian night sky. Your passenger breathes a little sigh of satisfaction. It's beautiful, isn't it? No doubt about it. You park in front of the residence where the young man lives. He pays the fare. He stretches his hand towards you. Thanks again. Meeting you was just what I needed. You shake his hand. He has a strong, confident grip. You know, you should film your rounds at night. It'd make a great series. You answer with a smile. He opens the door, gives you a big smile, and then disappears. You hold your arms close to your sides for a moment. You catch your breath, trying to control the anxiety welling up inside. The mere mention of police, and you start the cab. Oh. Right, what I miss? After first, I can't speak English. I'll try to learn English, but I'm slow learning lazy. I'm exactly the same. I'm currently learning Spanish, but it's very slow, and I'm not great at it. I only learned English. I just learned English so that I understand video games better. There's some people that have done that as well. So, nice guys finished last jokes. I like many 3 years of TV. Oh yeah, because that's the thing, right? Because obviously Morph is from Belgium. I knew Feline was ahead of me, so I knew Feline was somewhere in Europe. And it's mad props because I don't know. I feel like there's lots of like hard languages, but learning English I feel like is also quite difficult because we've got so many terms for different things. So we got 3 different there and like 5 different wheres, and it's just like it's sort of bullshit that sort of makes it really difficult for everyone to get their head around. So mad props for anyone that learns English. I just struggle to remember stuff. I got to the point with my Spanish stuff that if I'm looking at the word, I mostly know what it means now. It's just saying stuff and remembering exactly what it means when I'm saying it. Like, if someone told me to say a sentence, I'd, like, completely blank out. But if I had the sentence in front of me, I could probably translate it a bit. Just takes it a whole different way. But I have tried learning Japanese once. It went alright a little bit. I also tried learning Icelandic a little bit. That was, like, for 1 day. That didn't last. Also Italian. That didn't last. There was one more. I looked at Russian. I was like, no, hell no. Backed out of that. Yeah, I get that too. If I'm too busy with Dura, I remember it. Outside that, it's hard. Yeah. You see, it took 10 years to learn it. No, but seriously, it's like mad props to anyone that can learn the language. It's definitely one of those things. But I gotta admit, I will say this about this game. This game hits on hard things. It's not your typical game where it's just like little bits of stories here and there. It hits on hard political things. Had someone talk about Brexit. We've had this talk about race and how the police are in France. Yeah. There's been a few more, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. But this game goes on hard. I actually quite like it. I could probably get one more drive in. I want to do something that we haven't done before, and I'm pretty sure I've done that one, which is the Phantom Joker, or the Masked Joker. I haven't done those 3 or that one. I'm going to do this, kid. It's the only language I speak, I'm still learning more. Yeah, exactly. I barely speak good English half the time anyway. Oh, that's not much. Only €11? I'll do it. I'll do it. Your passenger slips into the back seat, dragging a backpack that apparently weighs a ton. Do you want to put that into the trunk? She refuses politely with a shake of the head. Thanks, but I'm going to have to get used to keeping it with me. It's going to be on my back for an entire month. You smile and start the cab. A glance at the rearview mirror, your passenger is rather young, and the camera around her neck also looks very expensive. Her backpack, scarf, and clothes are fairly worn. Where are you heading? She doesn't answer right away. She lowers her eyes. I'm on my way to Greece to join an NGO rescue vessel. Grammar's usually, but oh yeah, I'm terrible with grammar. The police in France are like the ones here. They're always where they aren't needed and never where they're needed. I think that's most places. I think that's just a general consensus. To be fair. An let her go on. That helps migrants try making. Oh my god, bloody hell! See again, I can have the exact sentence in front of me and I still somehow mess it up. So that's how good my English is, and I'm born here. That helps migrants trying to make the crossing, and I'm going to do a story on them. Oh, are you a journalist? She smiles the first since you set off. Yes, a photojournalist. They make the crossing even in the winter. They make the crossing whenever they get the chance, regardless of the time of year or the weather. The EU has just closed its surveillance and rescue program. Only non-governmental associations are doing anything to help now. So I'm on my way. I volunteered and I even made a fuss to get the assignment. Her tone of voice is increasingly shrill. I read first-hand accounts. I talked to journalists who have worked on the subject. I can't just ignore the whole thing. She gives a short laugh. I even played a video game about refugees. Beautifully done, really powerful. I knew I couldn't just sit back and watch. This was my chance to show the world what's going on there. Your passenger's phone starts ringing. Oh, sorry, She glances at the caller's name, her face freezes. She sighs, a troubled, same smile flickering across her face, and then takes the call. Hi, Dad. I'm in a cab, right? Yeah, I told you. I tried, but he wouldn't change his mind. Come on, Dad. I already told you, I'll be fine. They wouldn't be sending me there if there was... She moves the phone a bit further from her ear. Come on, Dad, stop. Dad, listen, everything's going to be fine. I'll be there for 20 days with a group of professionals who have been doing this for years. That's right, a group of rescue professionals. Would you just stop? She sighs heavily, it's no use. She's been down this road 1,000 times. Help her out. We're about to go into a tunnel, mademoiselle. You're going to get cut off. The young woman looks up at your surprise, then her face lights up. Did you hear that? I have to go. I'll call you back as soon as I can. She interrupts again. That's right, I'll call back. She hangs up, wide-eyed, and breathes a longish sigh. My parents. They can be a little much at times. She smiles. Anyhow, thanks for jumping in there. You could sense the tension, the wave of frustration, the anxiety welling up inside of her. Her unhappiness and anxiety are palpable. She closes her eyes, collecting her thoughts, trying to dispel her negative emotions. If only I had a little time. Is there anything I could do to help? No, thank you. I'll be fine. You already got me out of that never-ending conversation. I was just thinking that I'd like to be able to do a little yoga. It really helps me relax. It's an amazing way to unwind, to calm down and release tension. There must be a yoga room somewhere in the airport. I can pull over if you'd like. She looks at you closely, not sure what to think. What do you mean? There's a gas station up ahead, a rest area for truck drivers. There won't be anyone there right now. Alright, sure, why not? There's no more talk for a few minutes. Your passenger glances out the window every now and then. You drive past the gas station, the main building, trucks, then get to a small quiet rest area. Clearing and lit up by headlights of the moon suddenly appears. There is no one around, the air is cool. The young woman leans in towards you. Is this the place? You nod. It's incredibly calm, as if we were in the middle of the woods. Her eyes take in every detail, every tree and bush. Do you come here often? Whenever I can. She nods. She understands. It's so quiet. Even in the middle of the winter, it looks so peaceful. She reaches for the door handle. You won't leave without me, will you? Of course not. She gets out of the cab and puts her things on the picnic table. The wind is chilly. She shivers. She gives you one last look, then closes her eyes. For a minute or two, you watch her doing yoga exercises. Her eyes remain closed. Her face gradually starts to relax. A truck behind you pulls out of the rest area. The place has a calming effect on you too. Some summer nights you come here to take a nap. The young woman is stretching now. The headlights cast soft shadows among the dark foliage. In the winter, you smoke a cigarette or two, waiting for potential clients to land. The young woman gets back in the cab. She says nothing. There's no need. You sense she's recovered from her calm, and she's ready to face the rest of her journey. You drive away, leaving behind a clearing, the rest area, the gas station. The young woman is sleeping. The road keeps passing by, and before long, you're approaching the airport. A moment later, you turn down the radio. The song fades. I'll pull up over here. It'll be easier for you to get out of the cab. You get to the airport drop-off zone. A couple of colleagues greet you with a wave. A few bleak-looking passengers are struggling with huge suitcases in car trunks. A security guard sitting on a luggage cart smokes a cigarette, clearly exhausted. Your passenger pays the fare, collects their things, but doesn't leave the cab. Thank you for getting out. Thank you for getting me out of that horrible phone call. I love my parents, but they are suffocating. It could have gone on for hours, so thank you. I have to go now. I have the feeling that my parents are going to call again. Might as well go in where it's warm and I'm not disturbance. Let's just shut that. I thought it was good at English because everything isn't leaps or stuff friend. Dripper just shy and shy. Yeah. Go ahead, thanks for no worries, Sabo G. Thank you for dropping in and chatting with us, and again for the host. It's lovely to have you here. I hope you have a lovely rest of your Monday, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Monday? It's Tuesday. Hope you have a lovely rest of your Tuesday. Hopefully we'll see you in another one. Take care, my friend. I have the feeling my parents are going to call again. Might as well go in where it's warm and there's not disturbance. Good luck with everything. Thanks. She gets out of the cabin with all her gear. Her eyes follow her as she heads into the terminal. The airport doors close behind her. You sit there a minute or two, all by yourself. There's no one around. May as well head out as soon as possible. Oh shit, she gave us nearly a $7 tip. There's no way that I haven't made money this night. Oh, I still have money. Thank God, we can actually end this night. Okay, so this will be a bit difficult. You need to take me and update your board with new clues. A bus goes by making walls shake. You crack your knuckles and get to work. Killer likes wearing black gloves, so that's all four of them. Damn it!
It's Tuesday, innit?
It is Tuesday. Oh, where were I was somewhere the other day, and there was a whole conversation about that. Why is it pronounced Tuesday as in chewing rather than Tuesday? Like how it's spelt. I can't remember what it was that we carried on, but yeah, we just sort of there like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. So. I don't know. I feel like it could only be someone on the police. But he's got a lot of things now. Yeah, thanks for the bits, Freeline. It's much appreciated. The phone rings, you impulsively take a step back. It's a moment of truth. Pick up. Hello? Hi. Ice cold. So? She heaves alongside. There's no background noise. She must not be at the station.
That's my son!
That's my boy. My son. Oh, fuck it, boy. Yeah, shit. I get a bit confused. I've got a name for you. Perfect, I'm listening. You glance at a wall, the suspects all lined up, all the evidence, a whole mess of your ideas, your stomach is in a knot. I don't have to remind you, you cannot get this wrong. I have a meeting in 2 hours with the district attorney and the chief of police. Even the Minister of the Interior will be in the corner of the room somewhere. Obviously, I'm thrilled. Oh, but I certainly don't want to put out pressure on you. You can almost hear a smirk she'd be wearing. You lay down the receiver on the table and they have to decide. So I say, even though he doesn't seem like it, I think I'm going to have to go with him. The most evidence we have is on Slim. I mean, look at the victim. Victim 1 was a molester but never arrested. Victim 2 had killed an Algerian man. So both of those are like people that he would have had to defend but maybe not got put away. So to do justice, he then kills them. I don't think it's him. Perv seems kind of fine. I don't think it's him. And then he seems also, but like... Alright, I'm going to do it. Okay, accuse him. You pick up the phone back and explain your choice to Lieutenant Rousset. Why, how, the evidence, your sources. She listens without saying a word. When you finish talking, she remains silent for just a second too long. You sense she's not convinced. Listen, are you sure of what you're saying? Because between what you told me this morning and what you're saying now, something's not right. You sure this is a suspect you want to pursue? Yes. Okay then, I'll put my gut on it and find a way to make all this presentable. You take a deep breath, she does the same. I'll call you tonight, try to get some sleep. She pauses, no way she's going to hang up on such a positive note. No, she's probably going to. It might be your last night of freedom. She snickers and hangs up. You put the phone down, you might as well be standing in the ice-cold emptiness of outer space. You decide to go to bed, sleep, best way to kill time. With a heavy hand you wipe your face, you wipe your tired face. You lie down on the sofa bed, its frame creaks. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Your brain is running at full speed, your body aches and you're in pain. You can tell you need to get sleep. Well, if you're a bit wrong, I assume that I'd probably get killed or arrested. But that's how the story works. You can tell you need to get more sleep. You glance at your investigation board. You sigh when you think that in just a few hours it'll all be over. You'll have your answers. Rousset will have an arrest. Paris will be peaceful again. But what about you? What will you do? Just shake your head and your mind wanders for a second. Right when you're about to fall asleep, something rubs up against your leg. You prop your head up and just there in the shadows you see a face. It is like a combination of the faces of all your suspects. You wake with a start, look quickly around you, there's no one there. You lie back down, feeling restless. You open one eye. You had a hard night, restless. You get the impression you've aged 5 years in a matter of hours. You get up quickly, and a few minutes later you're outside of your studio. Right, 7, okay. You exit your place to see Rousset leaning up against your cab. She sways you to get in. You get in, a metallic taste creeps into your mouth. You and I had a deal. You nod painfully. The intel you gave me was total crap. Clearly I should not have trusted you. Her voice sounds distant and rumbling. You're coming with me to the station. We're going to talk about what happened next. Like a storm of tempest that destroys everything in its path. Everything. Believe me, the DA is dying to meet you. What happens next? She'll drag you to the station, blame you for everything. Everyone seems to believe anything she says. All the evidence she has is false. The next day, your face is on the cover of all newspapers. Your name is in everyone's lips. You're the killer everyone has been waiting for. You're fucked. Fucked. That doesn't make any sense, though. I mean, unless I'm just wrong. Wait a minute, what happens now then if I do this? Because the time's later. So is it go back to when I've got to make the call? Yeah, okay. So I guess I just keep doing it until I make the right call. So in that case, I would choose him. I guess. I might as well just skip all of this then. You feel sure she may sound interested. Are you sure what you're saying? It's between us. Yes. Okay, what guys aren't found anyway. It's presentable, take a brief bath, agree tonight, and try to get some sleep. She pauses, no way she's going to hang up with such a positive note. No, she's probably going to. Might be last night, Philip. Yeah. Yeah, get all of that. And then it's all the same there. Let me guess, it's exactly the same, I think. Brain's running at full speed, take it to sleep. Set execution mode. Yeah. But you shake your head. Runs to sleep. Oh, I actually slept that time. You open your eyes, you had a hard night, restless. Impression of age 5 hours. But he didn't have the nightly thing. This time. You exit your place and will see bus sitting up against your cab. She waits you to get in. Again, you and I had a deal. You're not painfully. Total crap. What? I'm assuming that's like intel I just didn't pick up or something. But like, I don't. I mean, she could say the intel I have is crap, but like, one of these has to be right. Otherwise, you shouldn't be able to accuse. What is it? Information up a bit of information. She pauses, you come with Sarah nodding. I'll call you tonight, try to get some sleep. She pauses, no reach out. Oh wait, this one's different. She actually didn't seem unconvinced. You could put the phone down, you might as well be standing up for it, so she decided to go to bed, sleep blood full time. Heavy hand, face. You lie down on a safe bed, eventually they run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Okay. Your eyes are hard night restless. You got the impression you're aged 5 years, amount of hours, you get up too quickly. After a few minutes, you're outside of your studio. 97. Okay, so let's see if it's this person then. You only gotten downstairs when you catch a sight of Besset, starting eyes right, forehead crossed. Get in. You obey, it's too early to reject. She settles into a backseat, flashes a smile. Good news, you're right, or at least the DA thinks your evidence is sufficient. No emotion in her voice, she gives you the facts, nothing more. We're going to bring Fragonard in tonight. She nods, her expression clouds over. I have trouble. She freezes. Fragonard is a mentor. Mine and half the squad's. You can't understand. He's an institution, She stops, clears her throat. I need your help, one last time. Later on tonight, we're going to get Fragonard to leave home and find a way to get him into your taxi. She pulls some kind of pen out of her pocket that she puts into a little cubby just above the car stereo. There is a bug. You need a confession? If you feel like it, if you think you can manage. I've seen you and heard you enough to know that you have a trick, a gift for getting people to talk. I need someone I can trust to get close to Fragonard without making him suspicious. He's a cop. He knows how he works. No one's ever sent a taxi driver to make an arrest. He won't put up a fight. I hope he'll open up to you, that he'll confess before things fall apart. No. Not too far from the hospital where he goes for his treatments, there's an alleyway under construction. There won't be any civilians, just us and him. She sighs. 2 teens walk by the cabin and intense smell of weed fills the cat, plus it doesn't budge. I know you can do it. If you stick to the plan, nothing can go wrong. Understood. She gives you a typical smile like an owner admiring their dog performing a perfect trick. I'm off. She lays her hand on the door handle. You can pick up the suspect, drive up to the meeting point, and you're free. Easy as pie. She gets out of the cab, slams the door, and walks away quickly. Shit, shit, shit. You hit the dashboard, intense pains are spread through your hand, you grab the keys and ignition and turn. The motor comes on. Your night's about to begin. Your last night. Okay. So I guess I just do drives until I have to pick him up. You know what's weird? What's really weird is the fact that I'm obviously a bad choice of character because I thought he seemed perfectly innocent. He had the least evidence pointing to him and everything. But hey ho. Right, let's go to this passenger because this one's new. I'll try and get the passengers we haven't done before. Need your help. Cherry Yamane. Okay, the passenger who sits in your backseat is one of the hordes of cyclists you almost hit at red lights. She's a bike courier, the kind who pays no attention to red lights, stop signs, or right of ways. She gives you a smile. Holy shit, it's flipping freezing out. You smile. Do we know each other from somewhere? I don't think so. Probably just cut you off on my bike or something. Or maybe it was me. Maybe I changed lanes without signalling. She goes by a laugh and she gives you an address. It's for a delivery, but it's too cold. I can't seem to get warm. You start the cab and turn the heat to high. Warm air fills the car. The young woman nods. Thanks. That's exactly what I'm here for. She closes her eyes as if to enjoy the muffled hum of the heater. I hope you don't mind. There was no way I was going to get back on my bike. I left it behind with my colleagues in front of that restaurant. She sighs. I know it's pretty counterproductive paying for a cab ride to deliver food, but all the warm air, it feels good. No big deal if I don't come back. I'm more even. Alright, Feline. I hope you have a lovely dinner. Have a good one. And I'm sure I'll see you tomorrow. Because it's Wednesday. We all know that it starts on Wednesday. How's work going? The young woman was struggling to stay awake. Pretty good. Though I had a run-in with one of my colleagues tonight. She falters. He's a real know-it-all. The kind of guy who thinks he's been there and done that. The work itself is pretty good though. In the winter we do a lot of business. People stay holed up at homes like rabbits. I have to say I understand them. She yawns. I'm warming up, but I'm sure tired of all of this. All of a sudden, she closes her eyes. Sorry, we're already here. We pull up to the address. Right, back to work. The delivery girl quickly enters the cab, slamming the door behind her. She rings the doorbell there in the Parisian building. A moment later, the door cracks open. The courier hands a client a plastic bag without taking the containers inside. She smiles. The door shuts. She rushes over to the cab and flings herself into the back seat. Come on, let's get out of here fast. You start the cab. Back to the restaurant, please. I left my bike there. Well, that's that. Her phone chirps. Business is picking up. She sighs. But yeah, I think I'm going to wait a little. Check it later. She settles comfortably into the back seat and closes her eyes. Is your customer nice? She stares at you for a moment. To tell you the truth, I can't remember. They're all the same. I'm not in this line of work, you know, for all the interesting people I meet. She bursts out laughing. Nah, I shouldn't complain really. At least I could take it easy on my bike. There's no one to really mess around with me. She lets out a silvery laugh. It's very soothing in tone. The laugh of someone you can trust. Do you really like what you do? Yeah, I do, absolutely. Sure, we don't earn much, but the job is really exhausting. But first of all, I have a killer ass. I know that feeling. My dates can't believe it. Guys are really crazy about him. All my friends, girlfriends want to know my secret. Basically, it's a win-win situation. But second, and this is what I really love, I'm my own boss. A faint smile spreads over her face. Well, I do have a boss actually. My telephone. It's an algorithm. Some guy calls me every now and then and asks me questions, asks me to take on more shifts. But he doesn't grab my ass. He doesn't waylay me in the corridor. He doesn't ask me to be a good little girl and go pick up his sandwich. And that makes it all the worthwhile. She looks serious as if she had just concluded a long speech. So that, my friend, is why I wouldn't trade my bike for all the world. Any prospects for the future? No, you're right. Not as much as far as prospects go. It's not that I'm going to be made a team manager or anything, that's for sure. But it's not all that bad. There are worse jobs around. Silence. And I know that you're going to say I'm being exploited, badly paid, and all that. But the worst part is actually the customers. You look at her in surprise. No, I swear it's true. You deliver their dinner because they're worn out after working all day, and they don't even tip you a single euro. Still, they are understanding and all that. They give me articles about the big bad delivery business abusing us, and then they order sushi from the restaurant down the street. Never trust the stomach. She makes a little farting sound with her mouth. Believe me, budget cheapskates. She stops you with a gesture before you can speak. But all of that is just for the time being, promise. I'm putting a little aside, like my father always said. I'm going to open a takoyaki food truck. Have you ever had takoyaki? You put up to a restaurant with small bike couriers waiting for their orders. Yes. Oh, cool. I want it to be the latest thing. It's basically a pretty simple idea. Sell them to people lined up for his concerts, movies, plays. She smiles. Anyhow, I'm out of here. There are a lot of starving people in Paris, and we don't want to let them down. She hands you the fare and exits the cabs. Thanks again. Really, you're a good company. Even if you ever need a shortcut, just ask. She gives you a last smile and walks over to the crew. For someone that complained about not getting a tip, she didn't give me much of a tip. Just saying. Oh, here it is. The moment. The last drive. You recognize the next passenger getting in a cab, a cop, a detective, your suspect. He has a tired look about him, and not just because it's early, his voice drags. The usual place. St. Louis Hospital then. You start driving. Your passenger seems to have it in mind elsewhere, not entirely awake, still on his chin. You scan his skin, his movements, his attitudes. It's cold as shit this morning. His voice makes you jump, you know. Do you have more people or not as many people when it's cold like this? Folks tend to stay home when it's too cold. There might be more of them, but they make shorter trips. Makes sense? Dead silence. Say nothing. Drive in silence for a second, then the road goes by. You don't want to look in your side mirrors too often. You haven't seen a trace of the cops yet. Bassett told you not to worry, but... You know, it's funny. Just this morning I was thinking about an old case. One of my first cases, actually. It was just after the Messerine case. You know who Messerine is, don't you? Or am I really that old? You sense it's the right time to get him to talk. Public enemy number one? Exactly. Public enemy number one. I joined the force a few months after his death and everybody was still talking about it. Public opinion was very divided. Did the cops murder Messerine or was it self-defense? I know the answer. They shot him down like a dog. He looks straight at you. You can sense a hint of the underground fire roaring deep in his eyes. Now, I most certainly did not want to die like a dog, understood? He catches his breath and clearly shaken. He's ever so slowly reaches into his pocket and pulls out his weapon. Where did Bassett ask you to take me? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh shit. Don't take me for a fool. Keep lying. I swear I have no idea what you're talking about. The gun appears. Shame. I thought I might just get a chance to get some honesty in this cold world just once. Just see what it feels like. I dedicated my whole life to the world of justice system to getting that truth. At least that's what I tell myself. And what I say to new recruits. But I'm tired of all the games and all the fucking lies. Where'd they order you to take me? Tell the truth. A warehouse, some old garage. They're waiting for us there. An ambush. I'm no Messerine, you know. I'm not going to pull a grenade out from under the back seat here. He cuts you off with a groan. Where he speaks again, his voice is chilling. Brisset. You can see his finger on the trigger is shaking ever so slightly. How much does she know? She has evidence. You hear alongside coming from the back seat. A few seconds ago by, you can try to concentrate on driving despite your sweaty hands and dripping brow. Okay, why hasn't she tried to arrest me then? She shrugged. Don't know, she told me it would be easier this way. I think she hopes she'll turn herself in without a fight. He looks away. You know, Brisset is really one of a kind, but she doesn't fit into today's world. Neither do I, for that matter. The weapon he's holding is shaking slightly, wavering. You suddenly notice he's speaking to you in a more familiar tone. That's why I killed them. Bastards, all of them. Rapists, murderers, and liars who escape prosecution. Now, Brisset'd like to do the same thing I did. Stab a bullet into the head of one of the first murderers that could get her hands on. But she can't. You can't just do that anymore. A long, painful, heavy sigh. Thanks. In any case, now there's only one truth left. No more confrontation, no debate, no need for justice to be served. They were guilty and I killed them. I can write that down if you want, it's no secret. I know I'd be caught sooner or later, either by Brisset or by... He sent him in the air. I'm sick. Got cancer. All over, they hope some new drug might cure me, but what's the point, honestly? Hey, I called it about the cancer. He abruptly accelerates his speaking pace. I don't want to go to jail. A cop can't go to jail. I don't want to see my face on the cover of magazines and newspapers. But I don't want to deny Brisset the pleasure of catching me, her and her team. So here's what we're going to do. There's a place in Montmartre, a place I really love. It's my first memory of Paris. It must have been 6 or 7. My mother came all the way from Martinique. She thought she could convince my father too. Yeah, anyway, there's no point in telling that story. I want to hear it. He snickers. And buy yourself some time? No. There's a bench up there, not far from the Sacré Coeur. The bench has two clear advantages. First, it faces the city of Paris, southern facing all the monuments are there, starting back in splendour. So to speak with confidence, especially like when all the buildings poke out above the cloud of pollution. Notre Dame Square towers, Pompidou and its coloured pipes, the Eiffel Tower. Shakes his head, the voice seconds. The second advantage, sitting on the bench, is that you turn back when you turn your back to the second year, an ugly building that only built it to rub the church the right way. He looks away and remains silent for a while. His hands shake a little. I want to see Paris one last time. A little too early to watch the sunrise, but at least there'll be people around. Lovers, life. I just want to go and sit on the bench, look out at Paris alone for 5 minutes, and then you can go to the meeting point. Be safe to pick me up. What do you say? Okay. Turn around. You'll see the view is incredible. Neither of you could say a word for several minutes. You drive in silence. Then, as you begin to climb up the top of Montmartre, the cop lowers his weapon. I want to apologise. I'm sorry I hurt you the night of the attack. Everything I could have turned out so differently. You're nothing like the guy I took down, you know? He was a kid at the time, but there was something in his eye. Something bad, something evil. His eyes sparkle for a bit. Tears, perhaps? Seconds later, you park a few meters from Sacré-Cœur. The bench is right over there. I just need 5 minutes. 5 minutes and we'll go. Got it? You nod. Don't do it. He lays his hand on the door handle and gives you a genuine smile. Do what? You're going to kill yourself, right? He pauses. To be perfectly honest, I don't really know yet. The cop suddenly seems older than he really is. His voice croaks slightly as he says it to you. Thanks, friend. He gets out of the cab. You watch the old cop. He takes a few steps towards the bench, walks around it like he wants to look at it from every angle. He doesn't so much as glance at Sacré-Cœur, and its dome lit up with a powerful spotlight. A few passerbys chilled to the bone are wandering about nonchalantly in the front of the square. The cop finally sits on the bench. He stays there a long minute, contemplating Paris. Strings of light wave around the traffic circles and intersections, making a magnificent canvas. Then it's a sudden movement. A matter of seconds, he pulls a gun out of his pocket and up to his chin. A shot rings out. Thanks, friend. Those were his last words. Are you fucking kidding me? No. Lieutenant Bassett watches you, her jaws clenched, locked more than light. What else did he say? He confessed to his crimes, the why you put in a cab as Coyle. You have the recording. Bassett stares at you for a second before looking away. Shit, this is not how it's supposed to end. You're not clear on whether she's angry or sad. I'm sorry. She's pretty much cut you off. Did he say anything about me? It's all in the recording. He said you were like him. Of course, that guy was my mentor, father figure actually. He taught me everything I know. That's why I slipped you his file. I couldn't investigate him. No one on the team wanted to either. It was unthinkable, unfeasible. Fuck. And a semblance of a smile spreads across her face, awkward, strained perhaps. Makes your blood curdle. You're going free to go now? Don't leave the country though, we might have some questions for you at some point. She opens the door, icy air seeps in, you shiver. You really came through, you know? I didn't think you'd do so well. Her voice breaks up a bit with her last words. Who knew? She gets out of the cab and slams the door behind her. A blunt metallic noise, unidentifiable vibrations. The car quakes and shakes like a boat. A minute goes by before you can move again. You slowly come back to your senses. Say a lot longer. You sit there for a moment contemplating the scene in front of you. Police squads are moving about, tape keeping the onlookers away, spotlights flooding the judge's lifeless body with white light. Hard to believe it's all over. You need to get away for a while, drive without thinking, distance yourself. A cop on the roadside waves his flashlight, motioning for you to leave. You have no reason to be there anymore. You've become a stranger again. Key in the ignition, handbrake off, foot on the accelerator. You leave Sacré-Cœur behind. Ah, okay. That's really good. That's really good. Although, definitely I'm a bad judge of character, considering I thought he was innocent. But, I guessed right in that he was dying. So, yeah. Alright, I can do that to fast forward the credits, that's fine. Right, the sun is about to come up. You drove all night long with your window open. You're so tired, your chest is tight and your eyes are heavy, but you can't stop. Not now. You're going to run out of gas soon. The light went on about 20 kilometers back. You're somewhere in Normandy. Maybe you'll run into that cat you gave a ride to one night. You smile and relax at the thought. You pull over into the shoulders and get out. There's almost no traffic. You step over a guardrail as your eyes adjust to the colourful break of dawn. The sun will soon rise over the horizon. You get your phone out and dial a number. It doesn't ring, direct to voicemail. A voice asks you to leave a message after the beep. Hey, I wanted to catch your breath. When Ade told me she'd held on to your phone just to hear the sound of your voice, I thought it was stupid. But now, the sun is slowly rising and the colours are fading in the landscape. Bare underbrush, a tiny village lost in the fog with the distant hilltop sparkling with dew. The view seems to alien to you. I wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity to redeem myself. Thanks. The word disgusts you, but it's too late. Thanks to you, I did something important. I think. Who knows? Silence, your head is spinning. You haven't spoken to your brother in years. Well, in a manner of speaking, you grin. Your kids are good. They grow up so fast. Ade shows me pictures sometimes, but I never go inside the house. It would be too complicated for everyone. But they're doing well. They look a lot like Dad, at least I think. He paused. A truck flies by, just meters from you. I thought when it was all over, thought I'd be able to get some decent sleep. Close my eyes and sleep. Really sleep, finally. But sleeping, it's just a break. It doesn't put an end to it all. It all just starts up again as soon as my voice cuts you off. Archie, you've reached the maximum time limit, please. You hang up, your phone feels heavy in your hand. What should you do now? There's a broken fence in front of you leading to a small footpath into the woods. Behind you is a highway leading to the sea. Disappear. You start walking. With a quick hand, almost mechanically, you toss your phone to the left and your car keys to the right. With each step you take, you feel freer, lighter. Just a few more steps and you'll disappear into the woods. The trees slowly part like they're letting you through. There's got to be something for you out there. Okay. Alright, that's Nightcall then. Obviously, it's not too long because the things are different the way that it plays out. So it looks like there's different stories. I'm only going to do this one story, I think. I just want to have a quick look. Yeah, because there's two more. It looks like each one each one goes difficult in variety, but I'm good with just sticking with the judge. So that. But no, that's really good. I really like this game. It's different to what I've played before, and I like the whole noir style of the game. So let me quick game, and we'll go to just chatting for a minute. Alright, put that on. Let me put some music on. Give me something good, maybe. Yeah, that'll do for now. But yeah, no, I'm hoping people enjoyed that. It's a bit different experience. Like I said, I don't really tend to play games where I'm more constantly talking. But I'm hoping that's something that people enjoyed. Let me just make stuff. I'm going to mark it off. I know that we haven't done all the stories, but I'm going to mark it off on the list because I think that alone was a good place to leave it itself for that game. Obviously, there's a couple of other stories, but it seems like each one ranging differently, and it seems like if you don't have enough evidence, you can just keep clicking and then find out which one is the killer no matter what. For some reason, I was hoping, I don't know why, because it means I'd have to redo everything, but I was hoping that if you did it, you'd then have to start from the beginning, which would be crazy difficult. But for some reason in my head, I was like, oh, that would be a thing. Right. Let's sort this out then. So where is Nightcall? Nightcall on the list. Right. Yeah. Right, so I actually ripped my review for Link's Awakening and Dark earlier. So I need to put those up at some point. but I'll make a note to do Nightcall review as well. Alright, I'm gonna put that in the note just so that I can say that we've done it. Okay, cool. Right. What we do then is, I suppose before we end, I should bring up my list, and we shall spin the Wheel of Fate for the next game, because I don't actually have one lined up. No one's chose it yet, so let me load that up. There we go. Cool. Right. So where's this? Let me just add this into Finito. Ballot. The option wasn't there to pick one. It should be. Wait a minute. Oh, I forgot to turn it back on. Oh, well, I'll do that now anyway, but I'll do the wheel for the next game. That's my bad. I thought I turned it on. Right, okay. So let's see what the next game is. Oh, Days Gone. Okay. So means I'm gonna have to get means I'm gonna have to get my PlayStation 5 up. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Days Gone then. Alright, I need to... Although I did just see that that is getting put on PC soon as well. Right, okay. So that's that. Right, I've taken that off on that list, haven't I? Yeah. That's fine. Oh. Right, let's put this over then. Doodle-doo. Pretty good result. I mean, I've seen one of my friends play it, and it did actually look like a lot of fun. So I'm interested to try it out. But yeah, I just need to get my PlayStation 5 up tomorrow and install it.
I have faithfully served the gods for 10 years.
Shout out Kratos. But yeah, I could get that up and sorted. Neff played it. I wasn't there for when Neff played it, actually. I wasn't there for that one. I think that was before I started watching Neff, like, religiously. Who is someone else on that's playing Nightcall that I can maybe raid? No. Oh, well then. I don't even have like a recommended bit on my Twitch showing right now to be like, oh, I could maybe try someone that Twitch is recommending because it's telling me popular live channels. Like, I don't want popular. I don't want popular. What's this? We can raid Mr. Wolfie. I haven't raided him in a while, so we can drop a raid over there. I tell you what, actually, tomorrow we're going to do something different. What did I say that I downloaded today? Tomorrow, because I don't know how long it's going to take me to install Days Gone, but also I've got my whole work migration starting tomorrow, and apparently it could take quite a bit of my PC's internet and stuff up. So rather than me trying to download that and Days Gone. I'll play some random games tomorrow. Like, I'll try out Total Warhammer. I'll try out Outwards. I'll see if there's another third game that I have that I can just try out as well. And we'll have like just a multi-stream day tomorrow and just see what happens, what the games are like. Which is pretty fast and downloading stuff. Yeah, but it's just the fact that my PC is going to be downloading stuff all day. Otherwise, I'd be fine with it. But it just means that I can do a long stream of it on Friday, which I feel like it'd probably be better than doing a shorter stream. But yeah, no, the PlayStation 5 is really good at downloading. Really good. I'm like really impressed because I thought it's going to take ages to sort all that out. But yeah, as always, thank you everyone for joining me today. It's great having you all here. I don't know if it's actually ending. I'm hoping not. But yeah, if you haven't already, here's my socials, and obviously here is my Discord. Feel free to join it if you've been following, and if you've been liking and you enjoyed the stream, obviously please feel free to hit that follow button. It's really appreciated. We'll be back tomorrow with some random mix. But until then, if you can, spam some panda butts and panda hearts, and just shout panda love in the chat. But yeah, take it easy, stay amazing. See you all later. Bye bye.